sad. What's even sadder is when women are afraid to stand up for themselves. Female athletes have worked too hard and come too far to knuckle under to a radical agenda that strips them of their rights. Someone should ask Kamala Harris whether American girls deserve a level playing field, or whether they should be forced to play along while men strip them of their rights and Olympic medals. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
Dennis Prager here. Join me on an unforgettable cruise to the Caribbean this November. We'll cruise to the vibrant islands of Half Moon Cay, Curacao, Bonaire, Turks and Caicos, and much more. We'll be joined by special guest Sean McDowell, and we'll both be sharing insights into current events in a way I hope energizes and challenges you. Secure your spot before space runs out by calling 855-565-5519 or book online at pragercruise.com.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So I guess Trump is ready to say it to her face. Say it to my face. Okay, well, he's going to say it to your face if you agree to the 3 debates he agreed to, as announced yesterday.
With all of that being said, I think it's very important to have debates. And we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details. Audience, some location, which city would we put it into, but all things that will be settled very easily, I think it'll be very easy. The other side has to agree to the terms. They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree. She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
So I think, by the way, he inverted. September 10th is ABC, right. September 25th is NBC. But he's agreed to the 3. And what say you, Madam Vice President?
Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he has finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
Let's make sure we get this photo of everyone looking right here.
She's got to go.
What about the other 2?
Hello?
The other 2? So worried about Trump, in this couple of weeks of response since Harris has been minted as the nominee, and yet this will all dissipate into the ether if you have 1, 2, 3 debates in September. When they are on the stage together, those will be the indelible moments that will move anybody who is movable at this point.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You could also reach us on our text line at that same number. Yeah, she finally spoke there and then also on the tarmac, and we'd blog the audio and give it to you, but it sounded like, I mean, why do politicians talk to reporters in front of airplanes when the engines are on? Well, I mean, you couldn't hear. She said, they asked her about the debate. She said, quote, well, I'm glad that he's finally agreed to a debate on September 10th. Another reporter, when are you going to do your first interview? Quote, I've talked to my team and I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month. Yeah, we have about, 20 more days left in this month.
Say it to my face. You said say it to my face. The question should be, you said say it to my face. He wants to say it to your face 3 times. So what's the problem?
Why not just say, I'll debate him? Because normally you have 3 debates.
Yeah, okay.
You do.
I'll tell you what's going on here.
Yes.
I'll tell you who's pulling the strings.
Dougie. Is it Dougie?
Dog Emhoff. Dog takes care of his girls.
No need to ask, he's a smooth.
Yeah, baby. You gotta come talk to Doug. So, maybe a little leery about committing to too many debates before we see how the first one goes. Because it's funny, the betting markets have the probability that Kamala accepts the September 4th Fox debate at less than 1 in 4, less than a 1 in 4 chance she accepts it. This is why she's dodging, because I'm sure she's going to dodge the Fox debate, and she probably won't be able to dodge the NBC debate, but she'll sweat this out for a minute.
And then the CBS is going to have the VP debate. But I mean, the one chance reporters get to talk to her, and they ask 2 of the dumbest questions. Why don't they ask her, hey, climate queen, why are you reversing your position on fracking?
Why don't they ask her? Because they're, for the 100 millionth time, because they are her comm shop. Why don't they ask her? Why must center-right people who otherwise understand what the media is go back and say, I don't understand why the media is not doing their job. Why does J.D. Vance go point out, you're not doing your job? Yeah, I know. We all know. It's all built into the price. I don't understand why people think somebody a group of people who've shown you who they are for decades, and especially the last decade of Trump. Why aren't they being tough with Kamala? Yeah, it's perplexing. Can we just stop it? What is unclear about this? Do you have to be beaten about the head and neck area every single day for it to resonate? I can't believe they didn't ask Kamala a tough question. I can't believe they're letting her get off with, I'll schedule a sit-down interview when I get around to it. Yeah, when the questions are all scripted out and the parameters are set. And so, of course.
They choose the network. They choose the reporter.
Of course. And it doesn't. And frankly, it doesn't matter what choice they make. What's the difference between Jake Tapper and Lester Holt and Gloria Vanderbilt's kid and Andrea Mitchell and Margaret Brennan and Clinton Foundation Donor Zero? What's the difference? There's no difference. Why won't the media? It's so pathetic. Stop it.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Can you read this email for me?
Of course. Jeez, I wish they could do something for your eyesight.
Me too. But you heard what they said. There's nothing we can do.
When vision loss can't be corrected with glasses or surgery, and hope seems lost, turn to Spectrios Institute for Low Vision. Spectrios doctors specialize in the treatment of vision loss related to eye diseases, such as macular degeneration, glaucoma, and diabetic retinopathy. There is hope, supported by science with personalized rehabilitation plans, occupational therapies, and access technology at Spectrios. Talk to a patient service manager. They'll walk you through the program. Spectrios takes BCBS and Medicare insurance. They also have grants for qualifying patients and offer a Seeing is Believing children's outreach program. Go to spectrios.org, located in Wheaton in a building that says it all, the House of Hope. That's SPECTRIOS.org. Spectrios Institute, the head, heart, and eyes approach to better vision. Remember to keep Spectrios Institute, a 501c, in your estate or legacy planning.
Honey, have you seen our roof after that storm last night? I think we need to call someone.
Don't worry, we got the shingle company on speed dial.
But I keep hearing in the news recently how dangerous sloped roofs can be. Our home in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point.
Well, the shingle company isn't afraid of any sloped roofs. Their safety record is spotless, their warranty unmatched, and they offer a low-price apples-to-apples guarantee. Besides, it costs us nothing to get a quote.
The Shingle Company, your local roofing experts who handle even the steepest of slopes with ease. Whether it's residential or commercial roofing, they've got you covered. With 3 generations of building experience, they're also experts in siding, gutters, windows, and more.
I am so glad we called them, and I can't believe our insurance covered practically the whole project.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Plus, I love that they're proud supporters of AM 560.
Visit the Shingle Company today at shingleco.com. Again, that's shingleco.com.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gavalis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology, such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930. That's 630-830-4930. Or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
All right, the Republican establishment wants to focus on the issues, President Trump. Don't get into things that we don't like to talk about. Oh, here's an issue that you don't like to talk about. Abortion. The Planned Parenthood video that was released by David Daleiden in the Center for Medical Progress after 8 long years of suppression. We'll have that at 5:38.
But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
It's 5:30 on AM 560, The Answer. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz campaigning in Arizona today as the vice president continues her campaign blitz. Here's Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, are in Arizona after planned stops in Georgia and North Carolina were postponed due to severe weather. Arizona is rated as a toss-up by the latest Fox News power rankings, and the vice president hopes to keep the state blue after President Biden in 2020 became the first Democrat to win the state since Bill Clinton in 1996. Former President Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, recently traveled to Arizona in late July, where he criticized the administration's handling of the southern border. At the White House, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
The Northeast bracing for tropical depression. Debbie, former hurricane, is currently spreading heavy rain and strong winds across the mid-Atlantic. California Governor Gavin Newsom wants cities and counties to step up removing homeless encampments and says now he'll be withholding funds from those who don't do it. Governor signed an executive order giving local governments the authority to get rid of encampments last month. On Thursday, he was spotted personally cleaning out a homeless encampment along with crews in Mission Hills, California. Texas Governor Greg Abbott signing a new order regarding medical patients' immigration status. Abbott announcing Texas hospitals will be required to collect and report information on patients' citizenship. The executive order will likely be challenged. It allows the cost of treating medical patients for undocumented immigrants to be passed along to the federal government. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot disclosing a bleak financial picture for the village of Dalton.
Based on the records that we reviewed since March of 2023, the village has been unable to pay all of its monthly expenditures.
During a village board meeting last night, Lightfoot said Dalton has a spending deficit of more than $3.5 million. A woman is dead, crushed on a conveyor belt at O'Hare. The incident happened early yesterday after the woman entered a restricted area at the International Terminal. Business owners and taxpayers in Cook and the Collier counties are paying a huge price for retail theft. Illinois Retail Merchants Association President and CEO Rob Carr says burglaries and thefts are troubling and the cost is mounting.
Well, it continues to create significant financial and psychological harm, not only to the people who own and manage the businesses, but the people who work there.
Capital One Shopping estimates that Illinois retailers lost nearly $3 billion to revenue to theft in 2022 alone. And a former state revenue auditor is charged with Paycheck Protection Program fraud. Illinois Attorney General's office says Shapeo Hicks of Monee faces numerous charges in a sweeping investigation targeting PPP fraud. She already pleaded guilty or not guilty to multiple charges handed down last month. She apparently applied for 2 pandemic-era business loans. She claimed she owned 2 businesses that did not exist and received payments totaling more than $41,000. Chicago sports, Cubs and White Sox renew that red line rivalry when the two teams meet for a 2-game set beginning tonight. White Sox will have a new skipper tonight after parting ways with manager Pedro Grifol. Bears continue the preseason with a contest against Buffalo tomorrow. Tomorrow's game kicks off at noon. 5:34. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Your home is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. Listen to your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio every Sunday morning at 9. Presented by Lang Home Medical Equipment, Executive Green Carpet Cleaning, and by Valdecast Windows and Doors. Get answers from industry experts so you can make informed decisions about your home improvement. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
Join Allie Beth Stuckey and the Illinois Family Institute for the Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet, 7 p.m. Friday, September 6th at the Tinley Park Convention Center. For tickets, go to IllinoisFamily.org.
Christianity brings civilization, goodness.
Allie Beth Stuckey, wife, mom, author, followed by thousands on her hit Relatable podcast. Hear her fresh and firm call for Christians to lead in Illinois, in America, for faith, family, and freedom. For tickets, go to IllinoisFamily.org.
Christians have always been on the front lines of human progress, set in love.
Allie Beth Stuckey and the Illinois Family Institute's Faith, Family, and Freedom Banquet, Friday, September 6th at the Tinley Park Convention Center. For tickets, go to IllinoisFamily.org. IllinoisFamily.org.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
5:37. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. A service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com, 855-563-2843, lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. Outbound Ike, accident involving a semi between St. Charles and North Avenue. Inbound Stevenson, accident, right lane blocked between Pulaski and Damon. Dan Ryan inbound, car into the wall. Inbound between 95th and 91st Street, and delays on the Bishop Ford. Outbound, the off-ramp to 111th is blocked off with ongoing road work. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast, partly sunny, breezy. High 76, clear and 57 overnight. Partly cloudy and 62 right now. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Oh, you want to talk about issues? Okay. You want to have a response on abortion? What are the Republicans going to do in response to the all abortion, all the time messaging of Mamala and the new Bolsheviks? Here's a suggestion. Thanks to the work of the Center for Medical Progress and David Daleiden, speaking of lawfare and people persecuted under the law, David Daleiden, part of the original 2015 investigation he and his undercover journalist did in 2015 was just released yesterday. The previously unreleased footage is like the footage that they released back then. We went over in some detail, and most everybody, including many Republicans, did their best to ignore it. And it really documents how macabre and ghoulish and sick Planned Parenthood is as an organization. Not to mention how often they run afoul of the law, and knowingly incriminating statements that were made on video in these this undercover reporting by the Center for Medical Progress back then. And we have more in this current 10-minute video, in this new 10-minute video that they released. It's not new in terms of an investigation, but it's new in terms of it was suppressed for, I suppose, legal reasons for the past 8 years. It features, in particular, the chief medical officer of Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast in Texas, a woman named Dr. Ann Shute Anya. Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast in, I think it's in Houston, reputedly, prior to the overturning of Roe, was the largest abortion mill in the Western Hemisphere. Very telling. Here is, and this is all sort of in the context of a confab, like a convention. You know, people are milling about, having a glass of wine and talking about killing kids and selling off their body parts, which is what Planned Parenthood does. Oh, avert your eyes and ears. Don't challenge people. Don't challenge people to address what they can see and hear with their eyes and ears, thanks to this reporting. The Dr. Ann Shute Anya talking to one of the undercover journalists, and the thing that Daleiden and the Center for Medical Progress did, and why this was so effective in eliciting all the information they elicited, was because they had people as undercover journalists who really knew the medicine around abortion, knew how abortion mills operate. They know the details. So it was somebody that either was very well steeped in this or was a medical professional themselves and knows exactly what's being done. So this is about getting the organs of kids they killed, because this is big business for them. And this is in part what these conventions are for. So the Delighten's undercover reporters would present themselves as one of these legal research institutions that traffics in the body parts of kids killed at Planned Parenthood. And this is a conversation that Dr. Ann Shute-Anya, the CMO, Chief Medical Officer at Gulf Coast Planned Parenthood, had with that undercover reporter.
Good. We're looking for livers and cardiac and those, yeah.
Those I can get you without much difficulty at all.
And so what is it when, is it just like you're more careful, or how do you, because I know different people.
I think a lot of it has to do with dilation. Really and truly a lot of it has to do with dilation, because when you have good dilation, a cervix that's either well dilated and or just softer and more pliable, then as you bring the fetus down, you can get more of it out before disarticulation occurs. And you can get bigger pieces out before disarticulation occurs. Then as you bring the fetus down, you can get more of it out before disarticulation occurs. And you can get bigger pieces out before disarticulation occurs. Whereas if you don't have good dilation, then you're literally almost like, because
then
you're kicking, because you get whatever's in your forceps. But if you have good dilation, then more than that will come half. If you don't have good dilation, then all you're getting out is what's in your forceps.
It just gets stuck right there, and
so
it just...
whatever's in your forceps and nothing more. I would much rather do 3 or 4 passes than 15.
Is that your average, like 3 to 4 passes to remove everything, or?
So he's looking for livers and cardiac hearts. Oh, she can get him that without a problem. And then they have this discussion about how she uses the forceps when she is performing an abortion, killing a kid. How many passes she does. The fewer passes, the more she can get out before disarticulation occurs. Disarticulation is dismemberment.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us on our text line the same way, same number.
And, sometimes also, as it pertains to federal law, because this just in, something that probably most people don't know, but partial birth abortions have been banned under federal law since 2003. Planned Parenthood knows that because they're very keen on doing workarounds that are violative of the spirit, if not the actual black letter law under the partial birth abortion ban. And this is essentially an admission of guilt you're about to hear from the chief medical officer at Gulf Coast, at Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast Planned Parenthood, Dr. Ann Shute-Anya. Want to make sure we name names here so they're in the permanent record. Sometimes you got to pull off a leg or two.
If I'm doing a procedure and I'm in fear that it's about to come to the umbilicus, I might ask for a second set of forceps, hold the body at the cervix and pull off the leg. So it's not
So that's where if you've got it coming out to umbilicus and that torso area is also intact, that's when I start to get excited, because that's all the organs in there that were right there.
I find that even if I can't get it out intact, I can still get you a good sample.
Now, if you just do a disarticulation though, while sitting, so you just pop a leg off or whatever, then you're free, right? Like it counts, and so then you can just bring the rest of it through all in one piece, because you've already done a disarticulation.
Who wants to celebrate women's reproductive rights with Jelly Belly Pritzker?
Do you think any politicians will even see this?
Well, they'll see it. What do they do about it? That's where I get excited. I mean, this undercover reporter is playing a role, obviously. That's where I get excited. So if you have to pop a leg off or two, I get excited. You bring the torso intact out, and that's those are the organs I'm looking for.
It's your moneymaker right there.
Liver thymus pairs go for about $1,600. as I understand from the reporting done by Center for Medical Progress. So, yeah, that adds up when you do several 100,000 abortions a year just in one facility like Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast, or at least that used to be the case before Dobbs. And then when Dobbs provided state empowerment, obviously the laws have been tightened up in Texas, and so it's a little bit more difficult for Dr. Ann Shute Anya to practice her dark arts than it was prior to the Dobbs decision. Should Republicans talk about this? Should Trump talk about this? Or should we just run scared, be the scaredy cat ladies that we are, generally speaking, in the Republican Party, including most of the conservative movement, and not talk about this? Because it seems to me this prompts a simple question. You don't need to get into the gory details, although it doesn't bother me if you do. If somebody wants to challenge the underlying truth of this reporting, then go ahead. Never hear it. And you know when the D.C. press corps doesn't challenge the reporting of something that is getting a significant amount of attention, it's because they are trying to bury it as much as they can, pun intended. They can't figure out a way to challenge it. Because these videos from 2015 forward, they call a very simple question. If it's not a child, then why is Planned Parenthood making money trafficking in a child's organs? If it's not a child, why are all these research institutions or outfits, why are they interested in human organs for research? Medical schools and the like, they would argue. If it's just a mass of protoplasm, as so many awfuls and peahat male impersonators like Tim Walz have been led to believe and try to lead others to believe, it's just a mass of protoplasm, and so that rationalizes the dismemberment of children and the trafficking in their organs. Then, but I don't understand how this business model works. That's not a real child, but you have somebody who's interested in its heart and its liver, thymus set up, and other organs.
And this was mainly out there, Houston, Texas, office of Planned Parenthood.
So
answer
the question.
What are they using it for? Who's buying this?
If they're not interested, if it's not a child, why is anybody interested in the child's organs? If it's not a human, it's a mass of protoplasm. It's a fetus. It's not a human being.
They preferred babies 6 months and older. Or fetuses, whatever you want to. It's a human life.
Frank, Board of Trade, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, well, that was my question. Does this encourage women to have abortions in the second and third trimester because the fetuses are larger?
Yeah, it certainly encourages Planned Parenthood to push them to, doesn't it?
Right.
Thanks for the call, Frank.
Well, it just shows the Planned Parenthood golf course. They were ghoulishly eager to rip healthy babies out of patients and sell their body parts. Did not know this was going on. I'm sorry, I'm ignorant like a lot of people, but and the fact that they hid this for 8 years.
They just hid this one video.
Right.
There was half a dozen other ones that we played on this show and discussed on this show that detailed the same thing. Remember, abortionists talking about, if the volume of business, maybe I could buy a Ferrari and things like this. Or have we memory hold that too? It's too difficult to confront what we have allowed to take place, and so we just say, yeah, that's terrible, and let's just shuffle along and pretend like there's nothing we can do about it. And certainly don't talk about it, because it may make some people uncomfortable. God forbid we make some of these banshees in vagina hats uncomfortable, because somebody might call us a name. Somebody might say that we're anti-woman somehow. Right. So say the people that are dismembering children in utero and selling their organs. Very persuasive. But if you don't stand up for yourself, then, well. Meanwhile, here we have the unanimous, at least to read the press coverage of it, celebration, Jelly Belly, surrounded by all these legislators, signing more redundant pro-abortion legislation the other day, shielding, bolstering a law that already shields Illinois authorities, shields women who come to Illinois for abortions, shields them by prohibiting Illinois authorities from disclosing information to assist any interstate investigation into someone receiving abortion services within Illinois. First of all, what states are pursuing women who travel to Illinois or a pro-abortion state to get an abortion? That's not happening.
It's not.
It's fictional, but why not? You have to create a fiction. You have to pretend that you're doing something important. You have to have a constituency you're feigning to protect while you're exploiting them in order to sell this and in order to misdirect people's attention away from the realities of this industry, and that's what it is.
Well, remember when Lexi Janulius, the new, whatever he is, Jesse White's old position, he had a press conference saying, we are not tracing women's plates who come here from Iowa or Wisconsin or wherever to get Indiana to get an abortion. No one was doing that anyway. They're just, as you mentioned, they're just creating fictional hypotheses.
I mean, if I was a Republican legislator, why don't we provide a tax credit for women who get abortions? Let's go stop this incrementalism. Let's go all in. Is there any line that you will challenge people to draw? You in the listening audience, any line. Let's just go skip to the end. One child policy in Illinois, and let's start doing child seizures by the state. And I know it may run into some constitutional issues, but I mean, if it was good enough for communist China, it's good enough for the People's Republic of Illinois, and let's fight it out in the courts. But let's at least put a marker down in terms of where our values are. Illinois values. One child policy, confiscate girls. Like the Chinese communists did for 35 years. Why not? Protecting women's reproductive health. Well, that's all you have to say, and then it's fine. Larry in Elmhurst.
Hey, good morning. Hey, me, when I die, I donated my body to science, but I'm thinking, the people that are on the donor list, I would tell my daughter to sell my body parts and make some money off of it.
Sure. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yeah. Right. The kind of shape I'm in, I should donate my body to science fiction. It's an old Rodney Dangerfield line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
In 2012, the Journal of Cognition and Emotion published a study that showed that we make a decision to trust a person within 100 milliseconds of seeing their face. Making a good first impression has never been more important, and you can make that positive impression with a professional headshot from Tom Killoran Photography. Whether you're a job seeker trying to land your next position, or you're looking to build your business by connecting with prospective clients and customers, you need a high-quality headshot to use with your resume, portfolio, website, or other marketing materials. The experts at Tom Killoran Photography can work with you to capture the exact look you need for your professional presentation. Tom Killoran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see a sample of their work, just visit KilloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN Photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Killoran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. The Olympics have normalized men beating up women. Last week, an Italian boxer withdrew from the Olympics mid-fight after being pounded by an Algerian opponent who was barred from competing in women's events at the World Championships. He has XY chromosomes and testosterone in the male range. After being forced to surrender her Olympic dreams, the Italian female boxer apologized for failing to shake her opponent's hand. She says the controversy makes her sad. What's even sadder is when women are afraid to stand up for themselves. Female athletes have worked too hard and come too far to knuckle under to a radical agenda that strips them of their rights. Someone should ask Kamala Harris whether American girls deserve a level playing field, or whether they should be forced to play along while men strip them of their rights and Olympic medals. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
At 6:06, Trump's hour-long presser yesterday, taking questions from all comers. Something that you don't see from Democrat socialist presidential candidates these days, do you? 6:06.
But first, let's stop by the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Lightfoot discusses a bleak picture for Dalton finances. A man charged in a Southwest Side fire. Ex-state revenue auditor charged with fraud. WIND Chicago News Time. 6.
There will be a Trump-Harris debate. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News, on September 10th on ABC, which had been set when President Biden was still running. Former President Trump, who will rally today in Montana, wants 2 more debates with his new Democratic candidate, Vice President Harris.
Everything she's touched has turned to bad things.
The former president at his Florida resort spoke for more than an hour, critical that Harris hasn't taken questions.
She can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference.
Well, the vice president says she's glad that he agreed to September 10th and told reporters in a brief conversation she'll consider more debates. And
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
The Vice President Harris said at a union gathering in Michigan,
the true measure of the strength of a leader is not based on who you beat down. It's based on who you lift up. Amen.
She and her running mate Tim Walz will rally today in Arizona. Debbie is now a post-tropical cyclone over the Washington, D.C. area, moving quickly toward the northeast, possibly spawning tornadoes and causing more flooding, like from Florida up to the Carolinas, where they got a ton of rain.
12 to 15 inches. And that's why we've got water in the house.
There's been a third arrest in Austria, tied to the terror plot that canceled 3 Taylor Swift Vienna concerts. An 18-year-old who's not directly connected to the plot, but who had pledged allegiance to ISIS.
But officials at the next stop of the Stars World Tour, London, England, appear to be undeterred. Senior officers say there's no indication events in Austria have brought any additional threat. Swift has 5 shows scheduled for the British capital next week.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. The U.S. and Egypt and Qatar are again trying to get Israel and Hamas to rekindle ceasefire talks, but Israeli forces are back on the offensive today around the Gaza city of Han Yunis, urging civilians to evacuate as Israel also awaits the attack Iran vowed to avenge the assassination of Hamas's political leader in Iran. America's listening to Fox News.
.62 degrees. Skies are clear. At 6:02 on AM 560, The Answer, and good morning, everyone. I'm Mike Scott. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is disclosing a bleak financial picture for the village of Dalton. During a village board meeting yesterday, Lightfoot said Dalton has a spending deficit of more than $3.5 million.
Based on the records that we reviewed since March of 2023, the village has been unable to pay all of its monthly expenditures. Per records from the John Kasparek firm, as of June 18, 2024, there are 589 checks totaling over $6 million that have been approved, printed, but not transmitted to vendors.
Village trustees hired Lightfoot to conduct an independent investigation into Dalton finances. A woman is dead, crushed on a conveyor belt at O'Hare. Police say the incident happened early yesterday after the woman entered a restricted area at the International Terminal. Business owners and taxpayers in Cook and the Collier counties are paying a big price for retail theft. Illinois Retail Merchants Association President Rob Carr says the burglaries and thefts are more than troubling.
Well, it continues to create significant financial and psychological harm, not only to the people who own and manage the businesses, but the people who work there.
Capital One Shopping estimates that Illinois retailers lost nearly $3 billion in revenue to theft alone in 2022. There's an agreement from all sides about the need for some reforms on how police are hired in Illinois. Thursday, Governor J.B. Pritzker continued taking questions in the aftermath of the police-involved shooting death of Sonia Massey last month in Springfield and was asked again what could change to prevent such events in the future.
You know, there are ideas that are floating around. I don't think there's a bill that anybody's put together. It's hard to tell exactly what could be done, especially when there isn't transparency in the Sheriff's Department.
Illinois Sheriff's Association Executive Director Jim Kychik says there could be reforms, but what those reforms look like is not clear. Chicago sports, Cubs and White Sox renew their red line rivalry tonight. Jamison Taillon and Garrett Crochet go to the Hill. The Sox will do that with a new skipper tonight. They parted ways with manager Pedro Grifol. Bears continue the preseason with a game against the Bills tomorrow. Last night, Patriots beat the Panthers, while the Giants beat the Lions. The news is a service of Valdecast Windows for the discerning homeowner looking for high-quality and professional-level window replacement service. Contact Valdecast, your award-winning Platinum Elite Pella-certified contractor. Visit Valdecast.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk doesn't hear a reason.
Listen carefully. He does not tell you why. Now, we think we know why. Is it poll numbers? Was it threats? Was it intimidation? Was it they go after your kids? What is it, Joe Biden? He won't tell you. Is Joe Biden really going that willingly? And does Joe Biden harbor resentment?
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them. not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
6:08. Let's get a check of the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of the Shingle Company. We've all heard about the dangers of climbing sloped roofs lately. Well, you can rest easy with the pros at the Shingle Company. You're unafraid of sloped roof experts. Contact them at shingleco.com, shingleco.com, and inquire about their low price guarantee. Kennedy already at 25, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound Ike, an accident involving a semi, between Wolf Road and North Avenue, again on outbound 290. Tri-State jamming up northbound right at Roosevelt Road. I-65 Northwest Indiana, accident on the northbound side right before State Road 114. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now the AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, breezy, less humid, and early peak at fall today. High 76. Clear tonight, low 57. Partly sunny, breezy, nice day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny, terrific on Sunday, the high 79. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
62 at O'Hare. Next news at 6:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, former President Trump holding a presser at Mar-a-Lago yesterday. And I love the way this is being characterized, hastily called press conference, a Trump called press conference, which speaks to the confusion and desperation in the Trump camp. Okay.
Unhinged is what one headline read.
Mm-hmm. So the press corps is attempting to do their job, but Trump does his job better than they do theirs, talking about his supposed absence.
I am campaigning a lot. I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before. Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before, both economically and from an outside perspective. Russia doesn't respect us anymore.
Yeah, that was sort of a theme and a nice contrast, right? I'm hiding right here out in the open, taking questions for an hour from the D.C. press corps, from people who are antagonistic to my interests, and she won't sit down with these same people who are friendly to hers. It is very telling, and it does speak to her lack of capacity.
Okay, yes, please.
You think Kamala Harris is worse than President Biden?
On
I
what?
know you said you think you're very
No, I
powerful.
think she's actually not as smart as he is.
Well, you said you think you're very
I don't
powerful.
think he's very smart either, by the way. I'm not a big fan of his brain, but I think that she's actually not as smart as he is.
To what do you attribute her rising in the polls as becoming a more competitive race since she's taken over?
Well, she's a woman. She represents certain groups of people, but I will say this. When people find out about her, I think she'll be much less. And I see it right now. I see her going way down in the polls now. Now that people are finding out that she destroyed San Francisco, she destroyed the state of California along with Governor Gavin Newsom. Well, he's been a terrible governor, terrible. But they did it together. And she was early. I mean, she was the first of the prosecutors, really. You know, now you see Philadelphia, you see Los Angeles, you see New York, you see various people that are very bad. But she was the first of the bad prosecutors. She was early.
Mr. President.
Fake, fake, fake versus fight, fight, fight. 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. When he was asked what do you attribute her rise in the polls, he should have said, you.
Yeah.
That's who I attribute to. You serving as I know you would, her propagandists, her biographers, the hagiographic coverage that you give her wall to wall, the effort you're doing to help her rebrand herself into somebody she hasn't been, because obviously the person she has been as a United States Senator, as a prosecutor, as United States Senator, as State Attorney General, as United States Senator, as Vice President, is not sellable. So you're repackaging her to make her sellable. It's another fraud. It's another scam that you're running with the party to which you affiliate. That's what I attribute it to. It's very simple.
But also, too, Democrats haven't rallied in 8 years because in 2020, Biden didn't do any big campaign rallies. I mean, he had people come in their cars to certain events. So this is the first time, and the guy, this woman, she can complete a sentence compared to Biden, who couldn't, and it would stare off into space. So the fact that she has a pulse, that she's breathing, I mean, people are excited about that.
Yeah, the low standards of the left. Yeah. This is what Trump is talking about. Here's Kamala in Wisconsin versus Kamala in Michigan. This is a rally setting. Okay. So you know how Trump is in a rally setting. Yeah, there's a script, but he riffs off and on, riffs off of it, comes back to it, over the course of an hour, hour and a half. Here's Kamala, same day, Wisconsin and Michigan. Kamala versus Kamala. This is how tightly scripted she is, and for good reason.
So good to be back in Michigan. Listen, let me tell you, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. And listen, I am clear. The path to the White House runs right through this state. I took on perpetrators of all kinds. I took on perpetrators of all kinds and had a summer job at McDonald's. I had a summer job at McDonald's. So hear me when I say, Detroit, when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. I know Donald Trump's type. And are we ready to fight for it? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win.
Wow, 312-642-5600.
AI is a acronym that stands for artificial intelligence. Roger in DeKalb, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, yes, great to hear you guys this morning. So right after the news conference, I saw on MSNBC the senior Washington Post correspondent. Her name is Ashley, and she was comparing the Trump rally or Trump news conference, which she's been to them at Mar-a-Lago before. They're dark. It's how depressing America is, how downbeat America is, as opposed to the Harris campaign, which is just all giddy and happy. And people just want to feel good, Dan. People just want to feel good, and that's what Harris is all about. And that's why this. And one more thing about Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley doesn't even have a face for radio. It's just like one of the most hideous-looking people I've ever seen. So have a good day.
Yeah, there's no standards anymore. That's one of the things. It's very much like stewardesses. There's just no standards anymore with people on TV.
They're flight attendant.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I know. The rules have changed for television.
Boy, I long for the days when you had a hot little number like Candy Crowley that you could enjoy watching report the news or debate on behalf of Barack Obama, debate Mitt Romney on behalf of Barack Obama. Those were the days. Yeah. The reporting on this, it's comical, but I mean, I don't get upset about it. You just call attention to it and you explain it to people, then you just present the evidence and you walk away. CNN, Trump's campaign cracked up pressure on Harris to do a major media interview, hoping to goad her into a form in which she's historically been more vulnerable. Yes.
Oh, God.
The Trump campaign is laying a trap for a presidential candidate to do an interview.
It's comical.
Don't do it. That's a trap. Where's Dog? Dog, don't let her do it. It's a trap.
Dog's got 3 ladies on the side.
You can't just go out there and start talking to reporters.
Well, the only reason why she answered a few questions on the tarmac is because Trump had that hour-long press conference, and she had to do something. And when things got a little uncomfortable, we have to go now. No, you don't. You don't have to go.
Trump also, he had a lot to say about Kamala. He's not afraid of this honeymoon period.
No.
Oh, it's going to end. The honeymoon period's going to end. Look, she's got a little period. She's got a convention coming up. It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent because I've watched her. She destroyed California. She destroyed San Francisco. Everything she's touched has turned to bad things. I'm not going to use foul language, but everything she's touched has turned bad. She's incompetent. The reason she's not doing what I do and she's not doing what she should be doing, she won't even do interviews with friendly people because she can't do better than Biden. Now, he had a reason for not doing well, and he was never, 25 years ago, the sharpest or brightest bulb in the ceiling. That I can tell you, okay? He wasn't. But he could do interviews at least. Not lately, he couldn't, perhaps. But she should be doing interviews. She doesn't want to do interviews. And the reason she doesn't is, number one, her policies are so bad. Just to answer your question, I think that it's not going to change because it's really ultimately not about her as much as about her policies. She wants open borders. Mm-hmm. She wants to defund the police. She wants to defund the police. She wants to take away your guns.
Yeah, and then I want more color on this story that he sort of told in part.
What's that?
I felt like there was more to it, but of course there are no follow-up questions because the propagandists for the Harris campaign, the Harris Walls campaign, that are pretending to be journalists working for networks, they had to scurry back and find out the details of this alleged trip that Donald Trump took with the infamous Willie Brown, when Trump was on a chopper with Willie Brown, and they had to make an emergency landing. And it sounded like Willie Brown was prepared to make some sort of deathbed confession about Kamala Harris.
Well, I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was he was a little concerned. So I know him pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen him in years. But he told me terrible things about her. But this is what you're telling me anyway, I guess. But he had a big part in what happened with Kamala. But I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
Oh, do tell.
Yeah.
I want to
What did he
hear
say?
more.
What did Willie Brown say? Come on.
Their affair didn't end on a good note?
That's a tease. I don't know. I mean, I think this is 2004-ish. Helicopter experienced transmission problems, buzzed a Malibu high school football game before making an emergency landing in an adjacent elementary school field, according to a report by the San Francisco Chronicle at the time. They barely cleared the high school and then landed very quickly at the elementary school, according to a witness to the crash landing. The guy came in fast. He was down in 10 seconds. You could tell it was not a planned landing. It's not clear if Trump was aboard that particular helicopter with Brown, but that was a emergency landing that Willie Brown was involved in, and so I don't know. I
want to know about more in Kamala. Oh, yeah.
Didn't have nice things to say about her.
Is Dougie getting jelly?
Well, maybe he's going to save that for for debate 1. Well, debate 1 may be September 10th, even though he wants it to be September 4th.
1 may be the third debate, too. It might be one and done. I'm
Could
still mad at Trump and his people for falling for the June 28th debate. Why did they do that? Biden would still be the candidate right now if they had just waited till September to do the first debate. It's like, just think, the Democrats are always plotting to get us. Even while we're sleeping, they're plotting. And their idea was, we'll put Biden up now in June so we'll have time to replace him. If he just would have stuck with the September 10th to be the first debate, then I don't think they would have had time to replace Biden.
Yeah, that's wonderful 2020 hindsight. It's something that nobody was saying in advance of that debate, including you.
I
weren't.
question why they were having that debate. Like, why would they do that so early?
We discussed it.
Yeah.
But nobody, and all the people that are patting themselves on the back for their Monday morning quarterbacking and their perfect 2020 post-event vision and their prediction that sort of generic prediction a year out that Biden wasn't going to make the race. I mean, they kept having dates that they were saying it will be by this date, it will be by this primary, it will be by this event, and it never happened. And they also didn't predict, because nobody did, because he has been able to muddle his way through State of the Union speeches and debates before. Nobody predicted that they wouldn't, because of course these same people were suggesting he'd be all hopped up on things to boost his performance and acuity for a finite period of time and somehow muddle through a debate. Nobody saw coming what
that was catastrophic.
what occurred at that debate. So I mean, let's just get a hold of ourselves. How could Trump and everybody have missed what I saw? Well, you didn't see it. You're just lying about it. Eric and you didn't. You didn't see it. You didn't say that.
I didn't feel comfortable with the June 28th debate, and I said that on the air.
Well, fine. Go get the audio of you saying. Go get the audio of you saying he shouldn't do the debate because Biden's going to have a terrible performance. He's going to be forced out of the race, and they'll have time, and they'll replace him. Go get me that clip, and then we'll give you your due. Eric in Rolling Meadows, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Friday. I think Trump's going to screw it up. I think he's going to keep on calling her a dumb woman and all these crazy comments. They're just going to use it against him. He's got to stick to the facts, and we got to attack them for not questioning things, and we got to protest her to answer questions, be in interviews. Let's harass them a little bit,
Well, that's what he's doing. And by the way, suggesting she is incoherent and doesn't have the capacity for the job and is not particularly bright is well within the bounds. It is.
She knows she's not up for the job.
It is personal, Eric. This is not an election or a time in this country where sort of the dry recitation, the stoic observations about policy, talking about marginal tax rates and her flip-flops is going to be enough, or really is the order of the day. And by the way, all of this, Kamala fear, you'll also remember, if you choose to, all of the conversation in the lead up to the debate and post was they painted themselves into a corner, which is why it was so difficult to get Biden out, because she was the option, which is why the reporting was, the scuttlebutt was, that was public reporting, Obama was trying to figure out a way in consultation with others, the operative class, to move her out of the way from Mark Kelly or somebody else, because they didn't have confidence in her. So now she's got a 10-day honeymoon period. And I agree that Trump's campaign has been a little bit betwixt and between in the response, and people are throwing up their hands. I knew he should have never debated Biden in June. I knew Kamala this, and I knew that. You don't know anything. Get a grip.
What I know is
long way to go.
Trump needs to grow the heck up. Stop Gavin Newsom. Just say don't new scum. I mean, I know you can't change a man who's in this near 80 years old, but it's getting tiresome. Just show some lack of maturity, just show some that you're becoming more mature, and just call them by their names. Don't call Kamala Harris names. Don't new scum. No, just
right.
Call them
Yeah, there's no name calling in politics.
No.
Hitler, Pol Pot, Stalin, threat to our democracy.
Threat to our democracy is gone now.
Corrupt, convicted sexual predator, false. And so on and so forth. No, but no name calling. Please. George in Naperville.
Yeah, Dan, the Kamala Harris experience is like having a Happy Meal at McDonald's.
All right, George, these similes that you call in with, we're going to need some more development, or they're going to need to get sharper.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Get ready to turn up the summer vibes at Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells and let the good times roll. Dive into your wildest dreams of adventure through awesome water parks, chill in sun-soaked pools, and keep the whole family smiling. Take on our epic water slides, soar like an eagle from our enormous zip lines, and swing into our world-class golf course. From sunrise to sunset, Chula Vista Resort is buzzing with excitement. Refuel and transport your taste buds to the flavor paradise of our #1 steakhouse in Wisconsin. Chula Vista Resort, where adventure and relaxation collide into your unique summer getaway. Call 1-800-388-4782 or visit chulavistaresort.com. Chula Vista Resort, the latest chapter in your epic summer story.
For a chance to win an overnight stay, please visit 560theanswer.com, keyword summer. That's 560theanswer.com, keyword summer.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to GetCash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
GetCash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to getcash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to getcash.com. That's getcash.com. Getcash.com. Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 40-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term life insurance may only cost you about $100 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-TERM-LIFE. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-TERM-LIFE. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-TERM-LIFE. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. For affordable term life insurance, call 800-TERM-LIFE. That's 800-TERM-LIFE.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Finally, an idea whose time has come. Chicago government-run grocery stores. It's been proposed. It's been promised. Now we're taking step towards making it a reality. Exciting times from the BLM Brandon regime, 636.
And later, I bet you didn't know it was 800 pounds of poop. We'll explain, but now let's head into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
62 degrees at 6:30. Ukrainian officials said moments ago a Russian plane launching a missile has struck a shopping mall, killing 9. A third teenager has been arrested, connected with a now foiled attack on a Taylor Swift concert in Vienna. Austrian Interior Ministry officials say an 18-year-old was taken into custody, allegedly being in contact with the main suspect. Swift is also scheduled to perform at London's Wembley Stadium in 5 concerts between August 15 and 20, closing the European leg of her Eras tour. ABC News says Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will debate September 10. And this morning, the Harris campaign is out with a new ad.
She grew up in a middle-class home. She was the daughter of a working mom, and she worked at McDonald's while she got her degree.
Trump saying at a press conference on Thursday that he also agreed to 2 more debates on NBC and Fox, but neither network is confirming. At a long press conference yesterday, the former president said Democrats are force President Biden out of the race instead of doing things procedurally.
From a constitutional standpoint, from any standpoint you look at, they took the presidency away. And people were saying he lost after the debate. He couldn't win. Well, I don't know that that's true necessarily. But whether he could win or he couldn't win, he had the right to run.
The Harris campaign has not yet agreed to any new debate terms. Debbie downgraded to a tropical depression, still a dangerous storm. The shooter at former President Trump's July 13th rally spent nearly a year practicing at a local shooting range. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley releasing documents yesterday that show the shooter joined the Clariton Sportsman's Club in August of last year and made over 40 visits. 2 people were shot and killed outside of a West Side Chicago apartment building last night. It happened around 10 p.m. in the 3400 block of West Douglas Boulevard. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot disclosing a bleak financial picture for the village of Dalton. Lightfoot saying at a village board meeting Dalton has a spending deficit of more than $3.5 million.
Based on the records that we reviewed since March of 2023, the village has been unable to pay all of its monthly expenditures.
Village trustees hired Lightfoot to conduct an independent investigation into Dalton's finances and the spending of Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Chicago Air and Water Show returns to the city this weekend. The event began in 1959, one of the largest free events of its kind. Headliners include the iconic U.S. Navy Blue Angels and the U.S. Army parachute team Golden Knights, and Staff Sergeant Nick Olasaraza.
Just being able to see the beautiful city of Chicago underneath your feet at 9,000 feet is definitely a plus.
Chicago sports, Cubs and White Sox renew their red line rivalry when the 2 teams meet for a 2-game set that begins tonight at Guaranteed Rate Field. And Puerto Rican golf legend Chichi Rodriguez has passed away at the age of 88. Had to pull this from the vault for you. Remember this television classic from WKRP's Richard Sanders and Howard Hessman?
Turning to sports. Winner of this week's Gulf Coast Golf Classic was Chai Rodriguez. Chai finished with a 9 under par score.
Chichi Rodriguez.
Hopefully, Mr. Rodriguez will play up to par in his next competition.
That's Les Nessman and Johnny Fever for our Gen Z friends. The news, a service of Blue Stars Security. Support our police and hire the police to personally protect you and your business. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarssecurityllc.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka always has the best guests.
How do you think this opponent rates against the incumbent Joe Biden?
He was the worst president we've ever had, and her ratings are lower than his ratings, so I don't know how she can do well, but maybe she can. It's a crazy world out there. Nothing good happened during this administration. Nothing.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
In 2012, the Journal of Cognition and Emotion published a study that showed that we make a decision to trust a person within 100 milliseconds of seeing their face. Making a good first impression has never been more important, and you can make that positive impression with a professional headshot from Tom Killoran Photography. Whether you're a job seeker trying to land your next position, or you're looking to build your business by connecting with prospective clients and customers, you need a high-quality headshot to use with your resume, portfolio, website, or other marketing materials. The experts at Tom Killoran Photography can work with you to capture the exact look you need for your professional presentation. Tom Killoran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see a sample of their work, just visit KilloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN Photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Killoran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
Jane, I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
Or being a dog person and a cat person.
Who wants a treat? Who's a good boy?
Or like being an extrovert and an introvert.
Woo! This is so fun! I can't wait to go home.
At T-Mobile, you don't have to choose. You can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how much you can save with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, when you switch, you can keep your phone, and we'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device, credit service, and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
The great hunt is on. Donley Auctions has buyers. They need more collections. This is Sean Thompson. If you're a collector, contact them and find out the market value. If you know a collector, tell Donley about them. If they sell it, you get a Donley's Finder fee. Money for you, cash in your pocket. Randy, what are you on the hunt for now?
Hi, Sean. I'm currently looking for any old signs for my August auction. I'm especially looking for old gasoline advertising signs and even gas pumps in any condition. Old soda pop and beer signs are also very sought after, and I even have buyers for old outdoor neon and porcelain signs that advertise a business. You'd be surprised at how much some of these signs are worth, but you won't know how much they're worth until you send me pictures to DonleyAuctions.com.
Do you have any of these items? Call Donley Auctions. Do you know anybody that does have these items? Call Donley and get the Donley's Finders fee. Donley Auctions, 815-923-7000. Tell them Sean sent you.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
6:38. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. We just got an update from the Indiana State Police, State Patrol there. That accident on I-65 northbound occurred around midnight. Traffic is only getting by in the right lane, and one of the reasons why is that one of the trucks lost their entire load of food-grade alcohol all over the roadway. It's tragedy. But you are getting by, but just barely right now in the right-hand lane through I-65 northbound. I-80. We've got reports of a truck fire at the Manuka interchange right now, and first responders are on that scene. Traffic, a service of Progressive Insurance. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit Progressive.com, Progressive.com. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, breezy, less humid. High 76. Currently 60 degrees at O'Hare. Your next news update is at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's finally moving among the many promises that BLM Brandon made when he ran for mayor and when he took office to address food insecurity, the lack of food equity in places like the south and west sides of Chicago. The food deserts, as they're known. Gee, why is that? How did they come to be, I wonder? Nobody cares. Nobody wants to understand it.
Because they were robbed repeatedly. There was an Aldi there, had to close shop. There was a Whole Foods there. That never made it either.
That's part of it. But nobody really cares. It's just we created this problem, and so now we're going to address it and then characterize ourselves as the heroes and the great saviors of the unwashed masses. That's the Marxist program, and nobody's more committed to that program than BLM Brandon. My administration, he tweeted yesterday, aims to tackle food inequity with a network of 3 city-owned grocery stores offering equitable access to fresh and healthy food in underserved communities. He could have used one more insertion of the word equity or inequity in that sentence. 2 was not enough. Chicago will lead the way with a new approach to fighting food insecurity.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. You can also text us on the same line. I know that we previously named the Chicago-run grocery stores Gimme Dat, but now we have
part
two
of the
others.
Gimme Dat empire.
So is this,
These are all Gimme Dat grocery
Okay.
stores, just like you have a chain of
Right, it's a
jewel
chain.
stores
The
or
Jewels.
or Publix or any other grocery store. I mean, that's what this is. So the Gimme Dat will be the post office to the Jewels FedEx. You see, maybe that comparison will help you get a little bit more excited about these 3 grocery stores. It's necessary, you understand, because volatility in the grocery market. That's what happened. Volatility in the grocery market has led to a wave of consolidations and store closings concentrated in the South and West Side neighborhoods. Right, store closings of stores people didn't really want initially, like Walmart, and then can't live without. They find interesting.
Well, they were looted so many times, it wasn't a profitable business model.
The city need not become the store operator. Oh, no. They could act to limit the risk of a private operator. Oh, good. That's so much better.
Oh, my gosh.
Just be the backstop for a private operator. That if anybody in the Chicago Press Corps or in the Brandon Johnson administration ever took an economics course, like at the freshman level, maybe at the high school level, you would learn this concept of moral hazard. But I suppose that's not a Chicago value. Learning, I mean.
Got a text message.
Moral hazards are.
Dan and Amy, I lived through this crap in communist Poland. Luckily, we escaped. Never did I expect to see it here in Chicago. This will not end well.
Bite your tongue.
Mm-hmm.
Bite your tongue. What do you are pro food desert? You want this food inequity to continue? I mean, again, to borrow from the great economist and philosopher Kamala Harris. This is what Brandon Johnson and she are committed to.
It has to be about a goal of saying everybody should end up in the same place. And since we didn't start in the same place, some folks might need more. Equitable distribution. Giving resources based on equity, understanding that we fight for equality, but we also need to fight for equity, understanding not everyone starts out at the same place. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place.
Exactly. We either all get Chateaubriand or we all get gruel. And, the history of this is that pretty much we all get gruel except for the elite. So the good news is that our betters will be taken care of regardless of how this goes. May not work out so well for the hoi polloi. This whole thing reminds me of the great Milton Friedman aphorism that if you put the federal government in charge of the Sahara Desert, in 5 years there'd be a shortage of sand. I would give Brandon Johnson 6 months to affect that. So I think he could create a shortage of sand if he took control of the Sahara Desert in 6 months. But actually, upon listening to his policy chief, I think he could get it done faster than that. His policy chief is
who is it now?
Some human being named Mayumi Umi Grigsby.
Better you than me to pronounce that name.
Umi Grigsby, Johnson's policy chief, had this to say. The only goal is not about profitability. The goal is to provide a sustainable solution to food inequity.
What does that even? What does food inequity even mean?
Make it 3 months. Food inequity is you got surf and turf, and
I want surf and turf, so give me that surf and turf.
Basically, yeah, that's basically the formulation. Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. So no. So but again,
okay. So what if I was driving by that store and I was hungry and I wanted to get something to eat? Can I shop at that store? Do you have to show, proof of residency? Do you have to, but I live on the north side, so can I get into the Gimme Dat grocery store? Probably not, right?
Those are fair questions. I don't know. I think they're still looking at the footprints right now. So, 10,000 square foot store built by the city for a private operator would have a cost of $8.1 million up front, with 2.7 of that coming from the city. Moral hazards again. But anyway, so 8.1. Let's make that 16. Okay. And maybe 24. But anyway, 8.1. The city gives you a quarter of it. The way the pro forma reads, and of course, again, just accept this as received wisdom. I mean, who would question this? Net operating income would allegedly be $45,000 with an assumed profit margin of 0.9%. It would require a $110,000 annual subsidy. Didn't we just try this with Whole Foods in Inglewood?
Yeah.
And
it's closed now, too.
Right, yeah.
There was repeated looting.
The same-size store opened in an existing city space, subleased to a private grocer, would cost $6.2 million up front. But with no extra money coming from city taxpayers, net operating income was projected at $30,000 with assumed profit margins of 0.6%. The venture will require $130,000 annual subsidy to remain operationally sustainable, according to this report. Of course, they put together top men and women.
Don't forget the women part.
Yeah. Well, of course, I never do, because I remember how Trump ran into blackness last week, and to the beauty of the strong black woman or something like this. Yeah. So I don't forget that. So this report, so they've got this all sussed out. I'm sure you real estate developers or just owners and operators of businesses, these pro formas, this is all making sense to you. It sounds great. You either get a little bit more money up front for the construction, or you get a little bit more on the back end with the annual subsidy if you do the construction yourself. And, with the this community that is underserved, that is suffering from inequity, you come in as the white knight, you're wearing the cape, you strike a blow for equity, you're getting the city subsidies, and then you're getting federal state subsidies with respect to the food support programs. So the customers are subsidized as well as the business is subsidized, and you got the backstop of Chicago. It won't want to see the business close because that would not look good for this regime. And off we go, right? Ron on the south side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, morning, Dan and Amy. And I'm sure the clerks, as we used to be, baggers, will probably get paid, what, $40, $50 an hour, since it's subsidized.
Living wage.
Yeah. But I just have to, this is just another dumb idea back here. This guy's an idiot. And last thing, this whole thing about guaranteed income, $500 with no string attached. Guaranteed income is what's called a job. What I did all my life, okay? And then supplemental income is, you know what that's called? Another job, a part-time job. But that guy's just a complete idiot. You all have a good weekend.
Thanks for the call.
Text message, Dan and Amy, nothing but straight up socialism. Chicago citizens don't have food deserts because of lack of corporate investment. It's because citizens destroyed any corporate investment.
Well, it's also
theft and looting.
Well, it's not just theft and looting. I mean, the illegal kind. It's also the legal kind. The cost of doing business in the city of Chicago. Get past security. Security is a huge issue. Crime's a huge issue, yes. The cost of doing business in the city. You're going to make a multi-million-dollar investment when you face the tax burdens that you face to maintain operational in a business that operates on razor-thin margins. And, oh, by the way, you understand you would be opening a business in a climate that is hostile to business, that sees businesses as people with the ability to pay and will, happily hammer you on property taxes to subsidize residential property taxes for votes, or increasing corporate taxes, increasing your personal income taxes if you also are going to live in Illinois and operate this business. Not to mention the litigiousness This is a trial lawyer haven. It's a judicial hellhole, workers' comp costs. And so, I mean, I could go on and on and on, as every business owner in this city and state knows. So I know everybody wants to immediately focus on crime. That's a big issue, the looting, the lack of security. You're not going to open a business where you're not going to be safe and your customers aren't going to be safe. That's not attractive. But it's also the cost of doing business beyond that in Illinois that doesn't get talked about enough, as we're growing and thriving, according to Jelly Belly. Give me a break.
Well, as Wall says, one man's socialism is another man's neighborliness.
Exactly.
Yes.
This is a very neighborly program, the
Yes.
3 Gimme Dat grocery stores. Dennis, Milwaukee.
Hey, good morning to the brightest team on radio in the country. I really think you make my day and you inform my decisions.
Thank you.
No, and I mean it. I try to call in once a month, and you've got my trigger today. Kamala's definition, of course, regarding equality is just foundationally wrong, right? I mean, we all do start out at the same place in this country. That's what the freedom is that we have. But her definition of equity is nothing more than a very concise explanation of communism. Communism is the centralized government's control of all of these resources. And if this isn't communism, I don't know what is. On the point of socialism, I'd like to simply say that socialism's goal is to destroy capitalism or constrain it. That is not the end That's not the end role for the government. That's just an economic process. This is communism when you have centralized government control over things like food. And just one last thing. Put the word public in front of it, and all you have is the lowest common denominator for everybody. Public housing, public transportation, public education, it's all marginalized to the lowest common denominator.
Right.
And that's what communism is going to achieve, Dan and Amy.
It's equality and misery, but that's equality. Or that's equity. Thanks for the call, Dennis.
I mean, that's what she thinks.
Well, and Dennis, we'll see. I know what you're basically saying is, can we get a Gimme Dat grocery store in Milwaukee? And we'll inquire about that. Maybe they can franchise if you're interested. But yeah, I mean, with this whole, some people need help because we don't start at the same place, but we all need to end up in the same place. What that even means, how you even achieve that. But it is from each according to their means, to each according to their needs. It's boilerplate. Which is what she does. She's boilerplate. So the same thing with BLM Brandon. He's not terribly bright or talented either. So these are just apparatchiks that repeat the boilerplate of the new Bolsheviks. That's who Brandon Johnson is. That's who Kamala Harris is. That's who most of the new Bolsheviks are that dominate that Democrat Socialist Party. That's what they are. They're apparatchiks.
A great text message. Dan and Amy, I work for Whole Foods. And that Inglewood store was opened with the knowledge that it would lose money. It was to, quote unquote, increase food access. Imagine the theft was so bad that a store built to lose money lost so much money that they had to close.
Yeah. The Whole Foods got an $11 million subsidy for site preparation and required an expiring TIF to be extended while money was moved from a neighboring TIF. I mean, so there was a lot of upfront money that was expended to make this viable for to make this, I guess, attractive enough for Whole Foods in addition to the politics of it to do it. And it didn't last very long.
Nope.
Kevin on the Kennedy, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. I was calling actually to let you know how much you made me laugh yesterday, Amy. At one point, you guys were talking about Dan's pickleball game.
Yeah.
And you had suggested that he put out some video of live action Dan Proft playing pickleball.
Yeah.
And immediately I thought of Uncle Rico throwing the pigskin over the mountain.
Napoleon Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, you got it. Absolutely.
Dan Proft's pickleball moment.
I am an Uncle Rico level athlete, Kevin. Thanks for yeah. And I know you were also worried about that strained right calf muscle of mine.
How's it going?
Went to Pilates yesterday. It's loosened it up a little bit. It's feeling better. So I'll be back to top form on the pickleball court soon enough.
What's your schedule? Are you playing this weekend? When are you gonna hit it?
I have golf this weekend, but maybe I could squeeze it in. I mean, I can go from one activity to the other. I've got that engine. So, Lee and Hammond, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, hi guys. You know, when this continent was first colonized, there were different colonies that experimented with socialism, and they all failed. And the reason they failed was because some people will put their blood, sweat, and tears and work into things, and other people want a free ride. It's human nature, and that's why communism doesn't work. It's eventually the people that produce get tired of providing for the people that won't get off their dead rear ends.
Well,
Every time.
everyone's motivated.
It's hard to believe is that after all these years,
yeah,
people like Kamala don't understand that.
No, it's just we just needed the right people. You know, they're the ones we've been waiting for.
They're
so
our heroes we've been waiting for all our lives.
you just need the right people with the right talents and the right commitment to the right other people with the right intersectional scores, and this thing will work this time. Mike,
Remember, Brandon Johnson was a teacher turned politician.
Yeah, so I mean, it's
like Tim Walz.
Yeah, hope and change.
Mhm.
Hope and change. Mike in the loop.
You know, Walmart is a professional purchasing agent. I mean, they've been doing this for decades, scaling grocery stores, scaling supermarkets, everything. They've got purchasing power. They've got the expertise. It's a total machine, as everybody knows. And if they couldn't make it work, how can the Putin-Preckwinkle markets work here? I don't get it.
You know what it was with Walmart? It's very much like the Secret Service on July 13th. It was a failure of imagination, Mike. And what we have here with BLM Brandon is a visionary. So just, again, just trust. Don't think, trust.
Got another text message. Dan and Amy, the Whole Foods in Vernon Hills has been closed for years. I haven't eaten. Help.
All right, we'll see if we could get maybe Lake County can partner with the city of Chicago to do a Gimme Dad franchise in Vernon Hills. Phil, Northwest Side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Great show. The only problem with your show is we don't have enough young people listening to it. Yeah. And there's all these young kids went through Clinton's Common Core, and they're all retarded. It's unfortunate. And, you look back and forth at them being like a fish on the hook with Kamala's rhetoric. And, I don't want my heart surgeons showing up in a 75 Toyota. I had arguments with friends of mine that I work who were saying, "Oh, Philip, we never had true communism, and most of these guys are from Russia." And I said, "Who wants it?" I said, "All they do is keep making the elitists rich, everybody else poor, and their doctors are showing up in old cars." And this is something the young kids are never going to understand. And they're too young to know the World War II generation where dad went to work and mom stayed home. Almost all these kids are coming from divorced backgrounds.
Thanks for the call, Phil. All right, coming up at 7:07, we've got new body cam footage from a local Butler, Pennsylvania police officer on that fateful day, July 13th, that failed Trump assassination attempt day. We'll have that 7:07.
It's now 7 a.m., WIND Chicago.
She'll rally in Arizona. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Vice President Harris with running mate Tim Walz by her side today as the campaign puts out a new ad.
Donald Trump has no plan to help the middle class. Just more tax cuts for billionaires. Being president is about who you fight for. And she's fighting for people like you.
There will be a Trump-Harris debate agreed to September 10th on ABC.
I'm looking forward to it, and hope he shows up.
As for criticism, she isn't talking to the media. The vice president says she wants to schedule an interview before the end of the month.
She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
Former President Trump at a long news conference at his Florida resort says he wants 2 more debates with his Democratic rival.
I haven't recalibrated strategy at all. It's the same policies, open borders, weak on crime. I think she's worse than Biden.
There will be a Trump rally today in Montana. There's been a third arrest in Austria, linked to the terror plot that canceled 3 Taylor Swift Vienna concerts. This suspect is 18 and had pledged allegiance to ISIS. Israel's taken out more Hamas targets in Gaza and Hezbollah militants in Lebanon as Israel still awaits the attack Iran vowed.
Today, Iran is claiming that it has in its Navy's arsenal these new cruise missiles that are equipped with highly explosive warheads that are undetectable. All of this comes as the U.S. says it is prepared for any possible scenario or attack from Iran or the Iranian proxies. And U.S. Air Force F-22 fighter jets have now arrived in the region.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Tel Aviv. The remnants of Tropical Storm Debbie are over Virginia and Maryland, quickly moving north toward Pennsylvania, New York, New England, and could cause more flooding like Debbie did. Florida, the Carolinas.
We're talking another 3 to 5 inches. There's probably going to be isolated areas where there's going to be at least a half a foot of rain still coming down.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz. America's listening to Fox News.
60 degrees in Chicago at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 were shot and killed outside of a West Side apartment building late last night. The shooting occurred, according to Chicago police, around 10 p.m. The victims, a man and woman, both standing in a gangway of an apartment building when shots rang out. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot disclosing a bleak financial picture for the village of Dalton. Lightfoot saying Dalton has a spending deficit of more than $3.5 million.
Reviewed since March of 2023, the village has been unable to pay all of its monthly expenditures. Per records from the John Kasparek firm, as of June 18, 2024, there are 589 checks totaling over $6 million that have been approved, printed, but not transmitted to vendors.
Village trustees hired Lightfoot to conduct an independent investigation into Dalton finances. A woman is dead, crushed on a conveyor belt at O'Hare. Police say the incident happened early yesterday after the woman entered a restricted area in the international terminal. It's not clear how she got into that area. A man is dead, another injured following a shooting Thursday afternoon in Morris. A weapon was recovered at the scene. Both men are not from the Chicago area, according to police. An undocumented immigrant has been charged with sexually assaulting a child in Kankakee County. According to the county sheriff's office, Juan Alvizar allegedly assaulted that child on Tuesday. He's being held in the Jerome Combs Detention Center. Sheriff Mike Downey said in a statement, quote, "This heinous act was completely unavoidable because it's based solely on the fact that this offender should not be in the country," end quote. Cubs and White Sox renew their red line rivalry when the two teams meet for a 2-game set that begins tonight at Guaranteed Rate Field. The White Sox will have a new skipper tonight after parting ways with manager Pedro Grifol. The search for a new manager begins immediately. Grady Sizemore, the interim. America, the first country to cross the century mark for medals won at the Paris Olympics. The U.S. now has 103, including a competition-leading 30 gold. The news, a service of Blue Stars Security. Visit online to schedule a free security consultation at bluestarsecurityllc.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants to stick to the facts.
I'm going to urge you and urge our Republican leaders and urge media pundits on our side of the aisle to cease with the personal attacks on Kamala Harris. There is so much to her record and what she represents that we should easily see her going down to defeat on November the 5th.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Michael Alfaro, host of The Michael Alfaro Show. Join me each week as we tackle the issues you want to know more about, like foreign and national policies, how big money influences Washington, D.C., and so much more. Learn firsthand from elected officials and political insiders about the important policy decisions changing our world. Find me at michaelalfaroshow.com and then join me, Michael Alfaro, every Saturday evening at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Leica Microsystems Incorporated seeks an advanced workflow specialist confocal in Deerfield, Illinois to provide technical and application sales support for the life science research confocal products. Qualified candidates must have master's or PhD degree or foreign degree equivalent in biology, life sciences, optics, or related field, and 4 years of experience. 50% travel. Partial telecommute available. Please send resumes to harmon.brown@leica-microsystems.com.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before, and now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar, and in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
After 30 years of doing knee and hip replacements, Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup thought there had to be a better way, and that led him to regenerative medicine.
I was one of the first orthopedic surgeons to do it.
Now, after 20 years of successful orthobiologic treatments, lots of clinical data, research, and teaching, Dr. Scheinkup is National Medical Director at QC Kinetics.
They've done an amazing job of becoming the most significant orthobiologic and regenerative medicine practice in the United States. QC is so far ahead of the game in its science, its protocols, its people, its facilities.
So if you have chronic pain from arthritis and you want to avoid drugs and surgery, call the experts in this revolutionary field, QC Kinetics.
To give patients real lasting relief from pain, that's what I live for. That's my mission.
Get your free consultation now. Call QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of the Shingle Company. We've all heard about the dangers of climbing sloped roofs lately. Well, you can rest easy with the pros at the Shingle Company, your unafraid slope roof experts. Contact them at shingleco.com. That's shingleco.com. Inbound Kennedy 35 O'Hare to the Burns Circle interchange. Northbound 55 delayed. Weber Road to Route 53 with stop-and-go traffic. Delays on I-80. 2 lanes are blocked due to a much earlier truck fire. You're getting by on the left-hand shoulder. This is westbound I-80 at the Manuka interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, breezy, less humid, and early peak at fall today. High 76. Clear tonight, low 57. Partly sunny, breezy, nice day tomorrow. The high 75. Sunny, terrific on Sunday. The high 79. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
60 degrees at O'Hare. Your next news update 7:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business powered by Mirabali Insurance, Sunday evenings at 6.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Just one follow-up question. We got a text from 773 about the Gimme Dat grocery stores that are hopefully taking shape. Beal and Brandon tweeting about them yesterday. Apparently, they've done their studies and they're ready to spend money they don't have. I'm tickled by the Lori Lightfoot announcement. Lori Lightfoot does the deep dive on Dalton's village finances and finds some troubling things. They They don't have the money to pay their bills and stuff.
Oh,
you know,
no.
you know what we should do? We should think about doing. Maybe Beal and Brandon would do this.
What?
Have Lori Lightfoot come in and look over the city of Chicago's books too, and see if she can find anything. Oh wait, we did that with her for 4 years, and she didn't find anything.
Yeah.
I mean, this dance of the lemons, failed politicians going to look at the failures of other politicians, and this is their way to sort of rehabilitate their image. Tiffany Henyard, after she is defeated at some point or goes to federal prison, she'll come back in 5 years and she'll go, I'm going to look at Harvey's finances. And if oh my gosh, Harvey's finances, there's something wrong with Harvey's finances. Tiffany Henyard, a former elected official, former mayor, looked at Harvey's finances and found that they don't have enough money to pay their bills, and there's some questionable expenditures on Amazon and personal trips and hair care and so on and so forth. Tiffany Henyard, watchdog. Give me 5 years and it'll happen.
Got a text message too. Amy, Whole Foods in Inglewood did not close because of repeated looting. It closed because no one was shopping there. That's from somebody who lives on the south side.
Well,
or it could have been a combo of both.
Okay. I mean, they were accepting EBT cards, and I mean,
yes, they were.
I mean that, and again, all these private grocery stores accept EBT cards. You know, because you shop with an EBT card.
I had EBT. I still have my EBT cards because we got them during COVID.
Right.
What a racket that was.
Exactly.
We were all eating high on the hog, Wagyu steaks, filet mignon.
We were happy to provide that for you. Thank you for participating in that fraud. I was on the other side of it.
I mean, anybody who had a child at CPS got anywhere from $700 to $800 a month. I mean, are you kidding me? I knew at the time, like, this is going to come back and bite us in the butt, boys.
Yep. You were so outraged about it while you were picking out your select cuts of meat at the grocery stores. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we have to get to some serious business, too, because the Wall Street Journal has obtained body cam footage of a Butler, Pennsylvania police officer, on July 13th, of course, the day of the failed Trump assassination attempt. And this is in real time after the shooter had shot and the chaos that ensued. Take a listen to this.
Start towards the farm shop. I fucking told them they need to post the guys over here. I told them that the Secret Service. I told them that Tuesday. I told them to post guys over here. I have no contact with the inside. What? I thought you guys were. No. We're inside. Alpha 1, Bravo 1. Vicky. I told them to post guys over here.
I wasn't even concerned about it because I thought someone was on the roof. I thought that's how we. Like, how can you lose a guy walking back here?
They were
on the roof.
They were inside.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636-DA, turnkey.pro text line. I guess that's what we're going to have to rely on. A few legitimate journalistic outlets, independent journalists using FOIA to get bits and pieces of information from that day so that we can put together the story that the Secret Service or FBI is struggling, to be generous, to put together at this point. A Butler police officer saying, I told the Secret Service on Tuesday, that happened on a Saturday. I told them Tuesday to put a guy there. How did they not see? And then going back with other officers, how did they not see the guy on the roof? We saw the guy on the roof because they were inside. More.
Dude, that's what I was fucking calling out, bro. Fucking on top of the roof. Fucking, we on in the same frequency? Fucking pissed. Yeah, I know. I hear you. We're watching. I know. Yeah.
Couldn't find him.
Yeah. Nah.
Were we on the same frequency? It sounds like something that should have been fleshed out prior to the event.
Think?
I mean, I know.
And then in this video, you can watch him hop on the roof so easily. I mean, this is just. It was like a turkey shoot for him. This is unacceptable.
I know some of this is what you would anticipate, but it's good to hear what was being said in real time from officers. So, number one, I mean, it addresses some of the conspiracy theories to some extent. Number two, it prompts questions that Ron Rowe will have to be trotted out to answer again or to give non-answer answers, but at least he'll be challenged. So what's this officer talking about? And you heard and remember, they tried with both Cheadle and to a lesser extent, but still an unmistakable extent, tried to put this on Butler Police. It was a failure of imagination to imagine that our local law enforcement partner wouldn't cover that roof. I told them to put somebody on that roof on Tuesday. Why did they not have somebody on the roof? They were inside. Then you hear the back and forth. I'm pissed off about this. Yeah.
Well, the Butler police or the sheriff's deputies, there were 7 of them, and they were assigned to traffic duty. And of course, if they see something, they needed to say something, but they weren't even on the same communications channel.
That's not clear to me, by the way, that they were just assigned to traffic duty.
Well, that's what the commissioner, the Butler Township commissioner.
That's not clear to me. We haven't had that confirmed. That hasn't been confirmed by Secret Service, and that hasn't been. It hasn't. I haven't heard that confirmed. Or accepted, I know that's been suggested, but I haven't heard that it's sort of accepted as, yes, that was indeed the fact. And if they were limited to traffic, then why were they having conversations on Tuesday about elevated positions? If that officer is correct, and I there's no reason to believe he was performing for the body cam. I mean, this could all be checked out. I don't know. But he certainly raised something in real time that needs to be followed up on, don't you think? And I thought that the word was that they didn't get. I mean, maybe this was just sort of ad hoc communication because remember, one of the snipers was effectively acting as a whistleblower after the first attempt to put this on Butler Police by Kim Cheadle, the director who resigned, was the whistleblower, the counter sniper for at the local level said we were supposed to get a pre-event briefing and it didn't happen. So who was talking to whom? This guy says, I told them, he says Secret Service. So what were the channels of communication leading up to that day in addition to on that day?
There weren't. I mean, it's not, obviously they weren't communicating with each other. Obviously, the day of the event, Secret Service skipped out on that last run-through.
Well, I don't know. None of this is obvious.
Well, all right. Here's Edward Natale, the Butler Township Commissioner.
The officer that's being lifted, he is using both hands to grab the edge of the roof and try to pull himself up.
But basically, he just went on to say that, he described what happened with his officer and that, he didn't run from the gunman. He didn't have time to react. But also then he said that the 7 of us that were assigned to traffic duty. But yes, that has not been confirmed by Secret Service or by the FBI.
Right.
There's so many unanswered questions and questions we may never get answered.
Well, this is, again, as I said, now we're going to have to have people piecemeal this because you have seemingly a government, your government, that is uncooperative with you in gathering, distilling, and telling the truth.
But if it was any other politician besides Trump, do you think we'd know more right now?
I don't know. Not necessarily, because this is a cover your ass operation. So if it was a failure surrounding some other politician, the same people would be covering the same asses, because this is what they do. Yeah. This is the culture there. And this is the immediate reaction is to accept general responsibility, so no individual responsibility need be conferred, and then cover your ass. And then you do that with blame shifting and studies and how dare you ask questions that would force me to rush to judgment. I'm going to do this investigation with integrity and try to wait you out as long as I can, which is what they're really saying. We're not going to piecemeal it. We're still working on that. We've got teams. We've got Blue Ribbon Commission we're talking with, and not all these people have been briefed. Has anybody been disciplined? Has anybody pulled off their job? No, because that would be part of a rush to judgment, and these people are still being interviewed by the proper investigative authorities, and we're working in close partnership with our law enforcement partners to blah, 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 to bury you in rhetoric and to, go into full Dean Smith four corners for as long as we can get away with it. Certainly, hopefully, past the election. We know how short most Americans' attention span is. Mm-hmm. Let's use it to our advantage. Steve on Northwest Side.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Hey, I just wanted to make this one comment. I've, as you I was a Chicago police officer for over 30 years. During that time, I worked, many presidential details with the Secret Service, mainly when Bill Clinton came to town because he loved Chicago for some reason. And I got to tell you, I mean, I've been up on the rooftops with Secret Service agents. I've been in cars with Secret Service agents. I've stood on where the president is with Secret Service agents. I've shaken hands with President Bill Clinton. Never.
I hope you wash that
not
hand.
one time. You know, there's a funny story to that too.
Oh, good. Tell us. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Well, okay. So they call us, get in uniform. The president's coming to town. We got to go to Water Tower Police. I'm standing. You've been there where I think it's Pearson, where Pearson turns into the driveway. The limousine pulls up. He gets out. He makes eye contact with me. I'm maybe 15 feet away. He walks all the way over to me, sticks his hand out, and shakes my hand and says, "Thank you for all you do." So later on, I call my wife. I says, "Guess who I just shook hands with?" She goes, "Who?" I go, "The president." She goes, "Tell me it was Ronald Reagan." I go, "No, it was Bill Clinton."
So he got out of the. Wait, so what was the progression? He got out of the limo. He zipped up his pants, and then he shook your hand. Is that what you said?
Exactly.
Oh wait, all right. So now make your point. Yeah, make your larger point.
We during these details that we were assigned to, not once did we ever have communication with the Secret Service other than the agents that I was actually working with. We never had a radio or a frequency or any means of communicating with anybody other than other police officers from Chicago police officers. Apparently nothing's changed since then, and I'm talking like back in the the 90s and 2000s era.
Well, I mean, so for this Butler cop, I mean, when he said I told Secret Service, it could have been like talking to the agent that he's interfacing with or that local police are interfacing with, right? But I mean, But so that's interesting that you say that, because it seems like this has been the protocol for a long time, and it also seems like it makes absolutely no sense and it defies common sense. So, I mean, did anybody say, if we have a particular duty that is instrumental to providing security for the event, shouldn't at least somebody on our side be able to communicate with somebody on your side?
I don't know if there was anybody on our side that could talk to them. I would imagine there would be somebody. We had our what you would call our pre-event briefing with the sergeant in the office where he gave us our assignments, but that was it. I don't want to say like I was the best friend of a Secret Service agent, but I was relatively close to the whole operation. I was up in a hotel room, and I forget which hotel it was downtown, because they take over like 2 floors of a hotel, and they have their
the Ohio House, maybe. Was it the Ohio House? No,
not the Ohio House. No, not the. That's what we used to go to Mike's on Webster, and then we go to the Ohio House with the dates we'd pick up.
Okay, all right. Well, I don't want to, Yeah, please. You have your Fifth Amendment rights on this show. You do not have to incriminate yourself. Amy, wait, did you?
I'll tell you one more thing about Bill Clinton.
Oh yeah, sure.
That election, that guy is a consummate politician. He is great at political
good.
stuff.
He can work a room.
That's why he never got 50% of the vote. He's so good.
I'm a hardcore conservative Republican, but had that election been that day, I may have voted for that guy until they came to my senses.
Wow.
He's that good, Dan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, boy. He had you all starry-eyed, huh, Steve?
Oh, well, I met the President of the United States. I mean, come on, how often does that happen, right?
Yeah. It's not as exciting as it used to be, Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Steve. Appreciate it.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
As we near retirement age, market volatility can have an enormous impact on our lives. It's one thing if the market drops when you're 29 or 39, but if you're 59 or 69, it's a totally different story. Call us at the Wealth Management Group today, and we can help you create a plan to safeguard your nest egg in the event of market drops. Our number, 833-WMG-PLAN or invest with WMG.com.
Securities and financial planning offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Hey, Donald Trump Jr. here. Central banks are buying gold at record amounts, and the trend is accelerating in 2024. They see the writing on the wall. The dollar is failing. Is gold the answer for you too? To find out, get a free info kit from Birch Gold Group by texting the word SHELTER to 989898. That's SHELTER to the number 989898 to get your free info kit from Birch Gold, the only gold company I trust right now.
Message and data rates may apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Zero Foxtrot isn't just a brand, it's a way of life. Founded and operated by veterans, Zero Foxtrot's unique apparel and gear echoes the grit of the warrior culture. Zero Foxtrot dedicates itself to producing content, honoring the sacrifices of forgotten heroes of the past, and connecting history to the present. Embark on a journey with Zero Foxtrot today at zerofoxtrot.com. It's not merely our products, it's about the ethos that we embody. Rugged, resilient, and timeless.
In 2012, the Journal of Cognition and Emotion published a study that showed that we make a decision to trust a person within 100 milliseconds of seeing their face. Making a good first impression has never been more important, and you can make that positive impression with a professional headshot from Tom Killoran Photography. Whether you're a job seeker trying to land your next position, or you're looking to build your business by connecting with prospective clients and customers, you need a high-quality headshot to use with your resume, portfolio, website, or other marketing materials. The experts at Tom Killoran Photography can work with you to capture the exact look you need for your professional presentation. Tom Killoran Photography is also the official photographer for AM 560 The Answer. To learn more and to see a sample of their work, just visit KilloranPhotography.com. That's KILLORAN Photography.com. Or call them at 708-361-0025. Tom Killoran Photography, capturing important life moments for over 30 years.
Do you have jewelry with sentimental value that needs repairing? Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. I'm a customer of family-owned Roland's Jewelers in downtown Libertyville because it's a place I trust. Their in-house master jeweler does impeccable work, and jewelry comes back repaired in perfect condition and looks the same as the day you bought it. That's a great feeling. Roland's also specializes in custom design. They'll work with you every step of the way to make your dream jewelry idea come to life. The Rollins family is expertly trained to give you outstanding customer service, earning 5-star Google ratings. Now that's impressive. Visit Rollins Jewelers' beautiful showroom in downtown Libertyville for all of your jewelry needs. Visit RollandsJewelers.com. That's ROLLANDS Jewelers.com, or call or text them at 847-918-7300. 847-918-7300. Rollins Jewelers, a family-owned jeweler you can trust.
The following is a paid political announcement.
Illinois and Wisconsin patriots, come out to the greatest Trump rally of 2024. Support President Trump and help save the American dream. Join thousands of great Americans as we rally for Trump on Sunday, August 18th, the day before the Democratic Convention, from noon to 6 at the McHenry County Fairgrounds. It's an afternoon of music, fun, and messages from many of President Trump's most trusted advisors and closest friends, including Charlie Kirk, General Flynn, Steve Moore, and Kimberly Fletcher of Moms for America. Your MCs for the event will be me, Gary Rabine, and Sean Thompson. There will be many surprises, more all-star speakers, and well-known music groups to come. Join us as we rally for President Trump at the McHenry County Fairgrounds on Sunday, August 18th from noon to 6. Get your tickets now at paradingfortrump.com. That's paradingfortrump.com. Profits go to efforts to elect Trump as our 47th president. Paid for by the American Dream PAC. Thank you to our sponsors, Rabine America and Peerless Fence.
Oh, honey, it's our favorite leaf filter trusted pro, Matt. Matt, come in, come in.
Hi, Mrs. Sparks. You wanted me to stop by? Is everything okay with your leaf filter gutter protection system?
Okay. Of course, silly. We wanted you to stop by for dinner as our way of thanking you. Yes, to thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing? That lifetime guarantee.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a trusted pro to come out for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every Leaf Filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just us?
No, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/Gallagher to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard. Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/Gallagher and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
AM 560, The Answer.
Very good email per our topic of these investigations, like the investigation into the failed assassination attempt on Trump on July 13th. What we have seen so far from the Secret Service and the FBI has been underwhelming, as expected. I did the email. How's the Willowbrook investigation going? Oh, yeah, that mass shooting. 1 dead, 22 shot in Willowbrook. That's more than a year ago, June of last year.
Yeah, 89 rounds fired, I believe.
When are we going to get that public briefing from DuPage County Sheriff James Mendrick, Republican? When are we going to get the explanation for that? I don't want to rush to judgment. I'm going to give them time to do the investigation. Well, has it borne any fruit? Do we know anything? Have there been any public pronouncements about it? Just to make it local, so we don't just focus our sights at the federal level. Yeah, we don't hold people accountable at the local level. At least here, we don't. Chicagoans don't. And he also asked as the email, what have we heard about the KC Victory Parade defendants? Yeah, 2 guys were charged for second-degree murder, that KC Super Bowl Victory Parade. I don't know. I don't know I know that Quentin Lucas of Mayor of Kansas City is a terrible identitarian hack. Mm-hmm. I don't know about the prosecutor there, or how that case is going, but of course we haven't seen it adjudicated yet. What was that saying from the civil rights era? Justice delayed is justice denied. Yeah, okay.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk markets and money with Jim Urio, host of the Future's Edge podcast, special contributor Wire Points. Jim Urio joins us at 7:37.
But now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
61 degrees at 7:32. Microsoft this morning says hackers in Iran, they say, have been trying to break into the account of a high-ranking official on the U.S. presidential campaign. The internet researchers say the hacks discovered last June were part of Iran's continued attempt to try and influence the U.S. election. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will be campaigning in the state of Arizona today. Here's Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor, are in Arizona after planned stops in Georgia and North Carolina were postponed due to severe weather. Arizona is rated as a toss-up by the latest Fox News power rankings, and the vice president hopes to keep the state blue after President Biden in 2020 became the first Democrat to win the state since Bill Clinton in 1996. Former President Trump's running mate, J.D. Vance, recently traveled to Arizona in late July, where he criticized the administration's handling of the southern border. At the White House, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
The vice president and the Minnesota governor will be holding a rally in Glendale, Arizona tonight. Third person is dead from a listeria outbreak connected to deli meat. Boar's Head recently recalled 7 million pounds of meat products. On Thursday, the CDC reported a third death in Virginia this time. The Northeast bracing for Tropical Depression Debbie. Heavy rain, strong winds over the mid-Atlantic, and a tornado watch. 2 were shot and killed outside of a Westside apartment building. Last night, shooting occurred around 10 p.m. in the 3400 block of West Douglas Boulevard. Transportation officials revealing new details to redesign Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. Illinois and Chicago Departments of Transportation hosted an open house yesterday to unveil designs. The multi-billion-dollar proposal would add more than 100 acres of lakefront green space and straighten out another Lakeshore Drive S-curve. Chicago Air and Water Show returns to the city this weekend. Headliners include the iconic U.S. Navy Blue Angels. Commander Alex Armitage says Chicago's a big challenge for the precision flying team.
This is one of the most difficult show sites we see in a year. Chicago's challenges are unique in the exceptionally tall buildings that are here and numerous buildings that are here. So yeah, it's a challenging show site for sure.
The U.S. Army parachute team Golden Knights will also appear. Cubs and Sox renew the Red Line rivalry when the two teams meet for a 2-game set beginning tonight at Guaranteed Rate Field. Jamison Taillon will take on Garrett Crochet. Sox will have a new skipper, though, tonight, departing ways with Pedro Grifol. Grady Sizemore has been promoted to the team's interim manager. The news is a service of Crosscom Public Adjusters. If your home or business has an insurance claim, Crosscom will help you get what you need and have coming to you. They've helped thousands. CrosscomPublicAdjusters.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager sees the lies.
If the reason that he is not running is because he wants to pass the mantle on to youth, then why didn't he say that earlier? That's a lie. It is just a lie. It has nothing to do with his age. It has to do with his infirmity and the fact that he was forced out.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Charlie Kirk at 1 on AM 560. The Answer.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6745. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6745. That's 800-575-6745. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
As everyone can tell, we're living in turbulent times. During times of uncertainty like World War II and 9/11, people have often turned to God. In times like these, Fox Valley Coins in Naperville, Illinois reminds all Americans of the ancient promise found in 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. This is not a political statement. It's a call to all God-fearing Americans to do as God's word instructs. America needs healing now. Whether you're for the guy on the left or the right or neither, everyone needs to heed the word of God as 2 Chronicles instructs us. May God bless all our leaders and God bless the USA. This message is brought to you by Fox Valley Coins on Route 59, Naperville, Illinois.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. It's a service of the Del Bacchio Marchetti Group of app properties with over $800 million in sales. You'll get the most value for your home. 708-828-0000. Inbound Kennedy, 40 minutes O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Accident cleared on the outbound Dan Ryan. That's outbound right at Pershing Road. That accident being scrubbed out of your way. Tri-State southbound accident, right lane blocked. Again, southbound 294 between Cermak to right before the Hinsdale Oasis. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Partly sunny, breezy. High near 76. Clear and 57 overnight. Currently, mostly sunny and 61. Your next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Wall Street Journal front page today. Donald Trump's assertion that as president he should have more say over the Federal Reserve, how the Federal Reserve sets interest rates, would, if carried out, reverse a long-standing custom by which the central bank enjoys political autonomy, does it, to fight inflation and often unpopular rate increases. Oh, heavens. There he goes again, violating all norms, right? Or not right?
Not caring about the middle class.
The Federal Reserve is the issue. And the mystics on the Federal Reserve from time immemorial, including Jay Powell and the current board, these are like the hybrids in Battlestar Galactica. Oh, we seek their direction and try to translate their inscrutable rhymes. Their political autonomy. Is that what they have? Really? Jay Powell is completely insulated from politics. He doesn't take that into consideration. And previous Fed chairman before him. Yeah. No, I'm not buying it. And, maybe the libertarians have something on the ball when they say, and the Fed, the Rand Pauls and the Ron Pauls before him of the world. Maybe there's something to that. It's like these agencies that we think are somehow steeped in the founder's vision for this country. No. Federal Reserve was created about the same time as the federal income tax, and I think we could probably do just fine without either. Let's see what Jim Urio thinks. Jim Urio is the host of the Future's Edge podcast. He's also a special contributor to Wire Points, and he is a proprietor of Brandt's Restaurant in Palatine, unsubsidized restaurant, not unlike the grocery stores coming to Chicago. For now, but maybe. Jim Urio, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Are you very concerned as the Wall Street press corps, if you will, is very concerned that Trump may try to be more influential than previous presidents when it comes to the decisions made by the central bankers?
Well, the funny thing is that all presidents think the same, and they'd love to control everything. You don't become president unless you're a narcissistic control freak. Trump just says it out loud. Do I think it's a good thing to do, to threaten the Fed, et cetera? No, it's not. Is it a big deal? It's not a big deal at all. It's a much bigger deal than to be some double dealing in a dark room where you tell the Fed, you're going to only keep your job if I keep my job. And that probably goes on and has forever, too. You were thinking about libertarians wanting to end the Fed, and I always thought that was crazy and radical up until about the last 4 years.
Right.
And now I don't think it's radical at all. I think ending the Fed would be a good idea. What's better is that I actually think there's a place for a Fed with about 1/10 the actual activism that they engage in, trying to stop every recession from coming. We're supposed to have recessions, and we're not supposed to panic every time the stock market goes down 10%. So the Fed is a menace, but they don't have to. And I don't think it's Jay Powell's fault. I think he's put in a bad situation. Yeah, you know what? I actually take that back. I do think a good part of it is Jay Powell's fault. But they have done just irreparable damage here. In June of 2021, CPI had printed over 5%. We were already in a housing bubble that was inflating, and Jay Powell said it's transitory, and he hit the gas for the next 6 months. I actually think deep down he was worried that it was transitory, and he knows full well that we need a high level of inflation to bail out these indebted government agencies all over the country. Did you get more of an answer than you wanted there?
Well, no, but I mean, I mean, that's not so easy as saying end the Fed. You have to have a discussion about it. I'm not the slogans guy, but it speaks to, it prompts a conversation, which is what we want to do. And yeah, I mean, it's funny, right? A lot of radical ideas that seem radical back when we had some level of confidence in these institutions to at least be acting in a well-intended manner consistent with their stated objectives.
Yeah,
that's gone. And so, I mean, so even in your, sort of middle position of we have a Fed, but they act with more restraint. I mean, which is something we could say about a lot of government agencies. I used to be an acolyte of this too, like Friedman's 3% rule. You can have a Fed, you can have the central bankers, but just let's operate from some baseline, Friedman's 3% rule, so there's some predictability and consistency, and there is less manipulation. But of course, there's no ability to restrain people to those to those sorts of positions, and so you get, a decade plus of quantitative easing, which we've gotten, and you get the funny money that was printed during the pandemic, and you get, sort of overtures to fiscal restraint in Congress by the monetary policy guys, but essentially they underwrite the fiscal recklessness regardless.
Amen to that, no doubt about it. And you and I, we could form a committee right now with some good economic minds and come up with, let's say, 10 indicators that change weekly and automate kind of a Fed process about moving rates. By the way, the best thing for markets would be that rates were just set where borrower meets lender.
Yeah.
The Fed getting involved in it and obfuscating the price will always cause problems. But the question is, if they do it in a very, very minor way, it'll cause minor problems. If you do it in a major way, it'll cause major problems. So you said the right thing. They're people, and people have emotions. And in the trading world, some people found great successes with automating out the emotion. Like if this happens in the market, we're long. If this and nobody has to think about it and worry and have sweat running down their head. The Fed does this all the time. And to say, are they political? Of course they're political. They are appointed by the government. They are approved and reappointed by the government. If one president like Donald Trump says, yeah, I'm going to fire this guy, it is perfectly reasonable to assume this guy wants to keep his job and therefore may want the Democrats to win the election. I don't think that that's a leap at all. And are they going to be political? Yeah, they always are. Why wouldn't they be now?
All right, so the week that was, markets have calmed down after the Friday, Monday sell-off and the prospect of the R word. I can't say it. People get scared.
I can't. Just go to me. I'll say it.
People get scared. But I mean,
Trump yesterday said we're not going to have a recession. We're going to have a depression.
He did say that. He said there's a danger of that if we continue on this path with these sorts of policymakers. That is what he said. And so what say you, Jim Uriel?
So Monday morning was hysterical when all these talking heads were coming on TV saying the Fed needs an emergency rate cut now. And I'm actually in the recession camp. Those numbers last Friday were the labor numbers, and the labor numbers have been misstating the health of the labor sector for a year and a half. The jobs that have been created are second and third side hustle jobs, full-time career jobs are cratering. Also, there's things that disagree within the numbers, and their government healthcare and education jobs have been disproportionately higher over the last 2 years. So the number, we are definitely going into recession, but then you have to juxtapose that against the fact that the federal government is spending money like drunken sailors. No insult to drunken sailors, probably even more than that. They're amassing $1 trillion of new debt every 85 days currently, and this is all you get for your money is an economy that's sputtering around. But the funniest thing on Monday morning was the only thing that changed is the stock market was cratering, and guys like Jeremy Siegel, who I've known for years, going TV saying the Fed needs to cut rates 75 basis points now. No, they don't. The only thing that's changed is you're losing a little bit of money. Stock markets go down. Every 3 years on average, the broad stock market corrects 20%. Every year and a half, it corrects 10%. This is not a big deal. Stock markets go lower. Our age people think, okay, we saw 2008, we saw 2001 when all hell broke loose. And you have to ask yourself the question, is the situation set up for that? And I say the answer to that is no, because there was incredible leverage in certain assets in those two instances, in 01 with tech stocks and in 08 with real estate, that needed to be unwound over time. Now things unwind in a couple seconds. People press a few buttons, you have these huge down moves, and then it's all good. I still think this move lower has some legs, but I don't think it's anything to build a bunker and stock dry food or whatever that is.
Right. Well, what happened in Japan, though? I mean, they had one of the worst trading days since 1987.
Right. People think the carry trade is complicated, and it's not even remotely complicated at all. So for the last 3 years, interest rates in Japan are 0. Interest rates in the United States are 5%. So all these big international entities, they go to Japanese banks, they borrow yen because it's 0 interest rates, they sell that yen to buy dollars, and then they buy U.S. assets. Well, anytime you build up these positions over years, when something turns, it could cause people to head for the exit and exit the trade. Now, that's what we saw on Monday. Now, the Nikkei had broke 30% in the matter of about 3 weeks because they were starting to anticipate this new higher rate then everything has to unwind. And stock markets, even if the fact that the yen going higher is something that we probably ultimately want for the global economic picture, but we don't want it going higher so fast that it causes chaotic feelings in other markets, and stock markets tend to hate disruption. So that's what we saw on Monday morning to a certain extent. There's a lot of reasons for that too. Remember, in our market, we had built up such huge positions in like 7 stocks, something that we haven't seen in decades, that sort of concentration in 7 stocks. So that position needs to unwind too. So it's just all about a little catalyst. And if you want to say that Bank of Japan raising rates by 0.15, 15 basis points last week was the thing that started everything going, yes, but that story is small. The real story is that people weren't respecting risk and had too big of positions in all these assets.
Yeah, but isn't part of the story too? I mean, not with respect to it necessarily unwinding what happened on Friday into Monday, the Japan piece of it, but Japan is a canary in the coal mine for us. Japan is a harbinger in terms of decades of essentially corporatist policy that stagnated their economy, combined with a zero population growth, which is endangering their future, and central bank currency and interest rate manipulations.
There's no question about it. They have about a 230% debt to GDP ratio. You were taught in business school that if a country gets above 100% debt to GDP, that you start to put them on the watch list for bad things happening. To put that in perspective, over the last 90 years, 52 countries have hit a debt level of 120% debt to GDP. 51 of those countries have engaged in some sort of default where they pay people back with way cheaper dollars or they don't pay them back at all. Japan is the only one that's been able to extend this for 15 years, but it is absolutely crazy. You will get no real growth if you have a government that spends like that and controls everything. And you mentioned the word corporatism. Like, just think about that for a second. We don't talk about that enough. The federal government gives $9 billion to Ford to build EVs just last year. $9 billion. It's not an insignificant amount of money. But the whole thing then the government is bought in and has made a bet on EVs, so it crowds out any other sort of technology that may come in and be a better technology. So we never want the government being involved in these corporations at all, and yet that's all people seem to be screaming for. Like, chips are not being made here, let's make chips here. So then all of a sudden that's another $10 billion out of our pockets that goes to build something instead of letting the free market solve it. So there's a lot. We are on, to Donald Trump's point, we are on an awful path. If we keep spending money like we are, we spend it in good times, there will come a time where people might not want our bonds and people might not want our currency. That time is probably far off, and that's what gives them the courage to behave recklessly. But if we ever get to the wall and hit it, when you have a currency problem or you have a debt problem and nobody wants it, these are the worst kind of economic problems that could possibly be. Think Venezuela, think Caracas having no more cats and rats in the city because they became a food source for people. And that's not an exaggeration. That's really what happened when their currency collapsed. And I'm not saying it's going to happen here. I'm saying we're coming weirdly and recklessly close to that area for no apparent reason.
It's interesting you mentioned feral wildlife, because I think that is going to be one of the featured items at Brandon Johnson's Gimme That grocery stores in Chicago. He's planning to open 3. They've done the studies. They've got the pro formas worked out. They know the subsidies they need. They understand the profit margin on which these city-owned and backed grocery stores will operate. And this, of course, is in the name of food equity in areas in Chicago that they believe, the central planners do, are underserved by grocery stores. Are you excited about this big idea getting closer to fruition?
No, the idea is completely asinine. They talk about food deserts, yet they don't police these areas. They bragged about not policing these areas. And I remember when the riots were happening in 2020 and Target decided to move stores out of Chicago. And Lori Lightfoot was like, why are you doing that? And implicit in their response was like, we paid you money these years to protect us. And then when the time came to protect us, you didn't. So Brandon Johnson, who's this pro-crime mayor, and by the way, that this is not, people say, when I say those kind of things, and I do say it for dramatic effect, like pro-crime, what do you mean? Yeah, no, pro-crime. I'll list you 5 different policies that can only be interpreted as pro-crime. So the fact that grocery stores aren't going to these areas in a normal competitive environment is completely understandable. Him bringing in government-owned grocery stores as more kind of this march toward communism will fail in spectacular fashion. And again, you and I know this. The question is, we could have a bet: does it fail in 2 weeks or does it fail in 2 months? But nobody's going to argue that it's not going to fail and be a absolute. Every word I thought of.
Nobody's going to argue. What are you talking about? We have the mayor. We'll have most of the city council. We'll have the Chicago Teachers Union. We'll have a majority of the population celebrating this as.
I'll be at the ribbon cutting.
Yeah,
Governor Pritzker will be there. Everybody.
Maybe if you got on board, you could get a commemorative shovel at the ribbon cutting too.
I am in then commemorative shovel.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I meant no logical and reasonable people.
Oh, well, that's different.
The history of government.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, that's a different. Well, that is a very discrete cohort in this community. Jim Urio is the host of the Future's Edge podcast. He's also a special contributor to WirePoint and the proprietor of Brant's in Palatine, which is
You guys haven't been out to Brant's in a while.
Delicious ribs.
I haven't been there this summer yet, but I will get there.
Yeah, maybe I'll come. I got to go up to Barrington for Pilates. Maybe I'll come get a slab of ribs after Pilates. Sort of defeats the purpose.
Yeah,
but
maybe you can get a salad.
Yeah.
I don't think it does at all. I think it's right in your wheelhouse.
The ribs there are good, and it's hard to find good ribs.
Yeah. But I like your burgers too, and I love your tacos.
All right.
Oh yeah, those fish tacos. I get those about twice a week. I can eat them in a little too much, I think. Yeah.
All right. We'll make a pilgrimage out to Brant's. Jim Urio, thanks as always.
See you guys.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank, a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Scott Bartmus, co-founder of ESCO, a security and fire alarm services business and a customer of Signature Bank. We work hard to give our customers peace of mind, so it's nice to know that while we have our customers' backs, partners like Signature Bank have ours. When COVID hit, there was a lot of uncertainty for many businesses, particularly surrounding the PPP loan program, with parameters and deadlines changing constantly. The executives from Signature Bank worked weekends alongside their staff, filling out and submitting applications to ensure they took care of us. That type of dedication is hard to find, but we found it with Signature Bank.
Signature Bank helps local businesses succeed. Want to learn how Signature Bank can help turn your business vision into reality? Call Signature Bank at 773-467-5600 or visit signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for health care can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll check in with our friend Christian Toto, host of the Hollywood and Toto podcast, about the Hollywood influence in this election. It's not just Connie Britton on Zoom calls. That's at 8:08.
But first, let's stop by that newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Lori Lightfoot discloses a bleak financial picture for Dalton. 1 dead and 1 wounded in a Morris shooting. The air show and the Illinois State Fair are underway, while the White Sox fire manager Pedro Grifol. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
A renewed attempt to stop the war in Gaza. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The leaders of Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S. released a joint statement last night calling for Israel and Hamas to urgently broker peace.
But Fox's Alex Hogan also reports from Tel Aviv Israel's just started a new offensive in Gaza, targeting Hamas militants in their tunnels.
IDF tanks rolled back into the southern city of Han Yunis, forcing displaced civilians to evacuate.
U.S. fighter jets have also arrived, bolstering the American military presence after Iran threatened to attack Israel. There's been a third arrest in the terror plot that canceled Taylor Swift concerts in Austria.
An 18-year-old man is in custody in Vienna after investigators say he was in contact with the main suspect, a 19-year-old who was arrested along with a 17-year-old on Tuesday. They're accused of targeting 3 sold-out Eras Tour shows in Vienna.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Taylor Swift's 5 concerts next week in London are still scheduled unaffected. Former President Trump will rally today in Montana, one of the non-battleground states he'll go to.
I'm leading those states, as you know, by 35, 40, 50 points. I'm leading by record numbers. I'm going because I want to help senators and congressmen get elected.
He said that at a long news conference at the Trump Florida resort, saying he and Vice President Harris have agreed to a September 10th debate, and he wants 2 more.
It's about policy. It's not about her. I think she's incompetent.
Now, Vice President Harris says she's considering more debates as her campaign puts out a new ad.
Kamala Harris knows what it's like to be middle class. It's why she's determined to lower healthcare costs and make housing more affordable.
The Vice President and running mate Tim Walz will campaign today in Arizona. Debbie is no longer a tropical system, but as its remnants move quickly north through Virginia up to Vermont, potentially spawning tornadoes and causing more flooding, an 8th death has been blamed on Debbie, a woman near Greensboro, North Carolina, killed by a falling tree. America's listening to Fox News.
Sunshine and 61 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. 2 were shot and killed outside of a West Side apartment building last night around 10 p.m. Chicago police say it happened in the 3400 block of West Douglas Boulevard. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot disclosing a bleak financial picture for the village of Dalton. During a board meeting last night for trustees, Lightfoot said Dalton has been spending poorly to the tune of a deficit of more than $3.5 million.
23. The village has been unable to pay all of its monthly expenditures.
She also revealed large spending sprees on village credit cards that soared last year to more than $43,000 in Amazon purchases alone. A woman is dead, crushed on a conveyor belt at O'Hare. Police say the incident happened yesterday after the woman entered a restricted area in the international terminal. Firefighters discovered her entangled in a conveyor belt system in a baggage room. It's not clear how she got into the area. Cubs and White Sox renew the Red Line rivalry tonight. Jamison Taillon for the Cubs, Garrett Crochet for the White Sox, who will have a new skipper tonight, Grady Sizemore, after parting ways with manager Pedro Grifol. The news service of Team Hochberg. They've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners with the best rates and service. Let Team Hochberg help you by visiting 56david.com or call 855-563-2843. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. And now, the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stock futures are mixed after the S&P 500 rose more than 2% yesterday, its best performance by percentage since 2022. Paramount Global shares are rallying up 6% on mixed news. It wrote down the value of its cable TV networks by nearly $6 billion, though its streaming division made a profit for the first time. Paramount is cutting 15% of its workforce, about 2,000 jobs. Gilead Sciences is raising its forecast for the year. The biotech's earnings topped expectations. The stock's up 0.5%. Perrigo is recalling more than 16,000 cans of premium infant formula with iron because of excessive levels of vitamin D. The cans were shipped to multiple states. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Coselda, invested in you.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next. on AM 560.
Charlie Kirk believes the rot runs deep.
As we marched through these institutions for many years, I soon realized, one after the other, the rot that our institutions have been experiencing, the infection that is present, the tumor within the once great institutions in Washington, D.C.
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Sheet metal is a big part of commercial and industrial facilities. Look around your business and you'll quickly notice how many components use sheet metal, from fan systems and hoods to machinery guards and much more. For top quality sheet metal work, get to know the pros at Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial sheet metal contractor that can fabricate all types of alloys up to 1-inch plate. We perform jobs including chutes, hoppers, stacks, siding, and dust collection. We work in material handling facilities including steel, chemical, agricultural, food processing plants, and more. Vans Industrial can also design and perform the engineering for a complete turnkey installation. Our quality work is installed by trained mechanics who will work closely with you to make sure the job is done right.
Call 833-VANS-IND for a free inspection of your facility. Interested in what else they do? Visit vansindustrial.com. That's VANSindustrial.com. Quality craftsmanship since 1964.
Hey guys, Donald Trump Jr. here with urgent news. The world's central banks are making unprecedented moves, and it's time to pay attention. In 2022 and 2023, they bought more gold than ever before. And now in 2024, the trend is accelerating. Why? Because central banks have lost faith in the dollar. And in these uncertain times, gold is the ultimate safe haven. If you too are worried about the dollar, I urge you to take similar action by diversifying your IRA or 401k into gold with my trusted friends at Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word PROTECT to 989898. I trust Birch Gold. They provide an easy process to roll over your 401k or IRA into gold without losing your tax-advantaged status. So text PROTECT to 989898. That's PROTECT to the number 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold.
Message and data rates may apply.
It's 8:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg traffic center time. Inbound Kennedy, 42 O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Stevenson jammed up central to Kenzie, 40 minutes into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Lakeshore Drive itself jams up northbound between Soldier Field and Monroe. Tri-State accident, right lane block. It's on the southbound side between Roosevelt Road and the Hinsdale Oasis. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. Now your official Chicagoland weather forecast. In the AM 560 Weather Center, Steve Williams.
Partly sunny, breezy, less humid, and early peak at fall today, high 76. Clear tonight, low 57. Partly sunny, breezy, nice day tomorrow, the high 75. Sunny, terrific on Sunday, the high 79. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Mostly sunny, 61 right now. Next news at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Talk a little bit of Hollywood and politics. I know we covered this earlier in the week, but it bears covering again, particularly with our next guest, Christian Toto from Hollywood in Toto. And that was Ben Stiller.
Comics for Kamala.
Yeah, Comics for Kamala Zooms. Everybody's doing Zoom calls now. That's
new thing.
That's so current. Yeah, Ben Stiller announcing a $150,000 donation to Kamala and Tampon Tim, and offering this perspective on his own racial and ethnic heritage, considering the discussion of Kamala's.
To match your $150,000 donation.
Oh,
that's cool.
Okay.
Just get the ball rolling. Cool. And she's also a historic candidate. You know, it's going to be the first woman president. And that's incredibly exciting. And, you know, she's Indian, she's black, she's everything. You can be more than one thing. It's incredible. You know, I'm Jewish and Irish. I wish I was black. Every white Jewish guy wishes he was black.
Everything that guy just says is bullshit.
Well, I mean, Joe Pesci, that's really not necessary, no matter how accurate it is. The it's just the navel gazing sort of
it's
commitment to identitarianism. It's expected, but it doesn't make it any less silly. For more on this, Christian Toto, host of the Hollywood in Toto, T-O-T-O, Hollywood in Toto podcast, hollywoodintoto.com. Christian, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I just threw up in my mouth. I've heard that multiple times, and the gag reflex kicks in every time. And by the way, I think that's the money that Ben has in his couch cushion.
Yeah, $150,000. I know, but don't you? Do you agree? Do you wish you were Indian and black, or Jewish and Irish? What do you wish you were instead of what you are? Because we all do.
Listen, I'm Irish and Italian and Czech, and I feel so much shame about all three that I needed a bit. Listen, Ben Stiller is a very smart entertainer. I mean, he's a good director. He's given great performances, and the fact that this is the best he has, this is his pitch for Kamala Harris, I think that speaks volumes. He can't look at accomplishments. He can't look at the way that she speaks. He can't look to her vision. He's got to come up with this word salad, which I guess is in honor of Ms. Harris.
Yeah, but we've been here before with, Barack Obama, the first black president.
And we want to go back.
Yada.
We want to go back. They never want to leave where we've been, right? As much as they're always looking for tomorrow, don't stop thinking about tomorrow, but we want to stay right where we are, just obsessing about our non-behavioral characteristics.
It's exhausting for sure, and it's not unexpected. You would think someone with the gravitas of a Ben Stiller would be able to bring something more significant. But listen, we just saw it a few days ago with the white dudes for Harris, with the great Jeff Bridges embarrassing himself with his comments. They have nothing. It's all about image and vibes and TikTok and isn't she the cool aunt and the wine aunt and all this nonsense. Because look at the country, look at the prices, look at the gas pump, look at the world around us. There's nothing you can point to and say, I want 4 more years of this. She won't even answer questions. So Hollywood is just trying to bring the razzle-dazzle, and they're doing a very poor job of it.
Well, can you imagine if they had white dudes for Trump? The outrage, that's so racist. How could that happen?
Yeah, the double standards are off the charts. And also, if I was a woke black person, I would be offended by Ben Stiller saying, listen, you don't know our suffering, you don't know our pain, you don't know what we've been through, you don't know the racism we feel on a daily basis, and you saying you want to be black? Like, even just frame it that way, what he said is completely absurd.
Well, who really wants to be Irish, though? I mean, I understand that part of it, yeah. But so here's the thing. The Hollywood influence in politics. I mean, all these Zoom calls and the Connie Brittons and the Jeff Bridges and the Ben Stillers, it's sort of like what they produce now. Everything is reductive of something they've done before. There's nothing new to it. But so in that sense, I'm led to believe they're less relevant than they used to be. But on the other side, I think George Clooney is given sort of a lot of credit for instigating the end of Joe Biden's candidacy. So maybe they're still more powerful, at least within the Democrat Socialist Party, than I'm giving them credit for. Which is it in your view?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both for sure. I mean, I think the average celebrity coming out with these bizarre proclamations, I don't think that moves the needle an iota. But a George Clooney in the New York Times saying something that everyone is thinking about, then that has a little bit of sway. And, so I think it's case by case. But I think the biggest shoe to drop will be Taylor Swift. She has gone from being apolitical to being fairly aggressively liberal and political, to spending the last year and a half being the biggest celebrity on the planet and being apolitical. And now the pressure will be on. Can she say no to promoting the first female president? So that's going to be fascinating to watch, how long she waits before she pushes that narrative. But she's one of the few people who I think can change a few hearts and minds, can maybe make some people open their wallets. But it also could hurt her brand, because I think a lot of her fans are blue-collar, middle-class people, and they've been pummeled by the Harris administration.
Yeah, I mean, dare I cross swords with the Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelce, too, that power couple. But she's a childless cat lady in the making, and I'm sure if Planned Parenthood could put together a deal like Pfizer did, I'm sure Travis Kelce will put a vagina hat on his head and start promoting abortion.
And by the way, one thing I've been thinking about recently is we're seeing all these different celebrities come out for Kamala Harris. Where was this support for Biden? I mean, they all knew on some level that he was diminished and he was an embarrassment. So they all basically laid low, with a few exceptions like Clooney and Colbert doing those fundraisers. But as soon as they switched the person at the top of the ticket, all the celebrities came out. So I think that's kind of a quiet admission that they all knew that Biden was terrible, a bad president, and mentally, declining. So I think that's something that hasn't been discussed enough.
But George Clooney started all this with the op-ed. I mean, he was the first one to get out there after that $30 million fundraiser in Los Angeles, right?
I know, yeah, but who really started? They move in concert with one another. I don't think he jumped without looking, right?
But also, listen, his op-ed came out after the disastrous debate, after they could no longer hide who Biden is. So Biden, Clooney went to that fundraiser, yucked it up, collected all that cash, saw Biden as being extremely diminished, and said nothing until it was politically astute for him to say something. So, Clooney should be shamed for that, honestly, because he wasn't a true patriot. He didn't blow the whistle on his own party. He didn't say, hey, we got to do something. I've seen the president, and he's not well. He waited until it was time to push Biden aside.
Remember, it was all cheap fakes. They kept saying that. If we were showing a diminished Biden, then we were the fake news.
We trust your artistic eye, and I've been a little bit busy, so I haven't been able to keep up with some of the new releases and new shows, looking for some of both. I mean, I see Wolverine and Deadpool. I'm like, oh gosh. Kate Blanchett is playing a bounty hunter. I mean, have we really come to that? That's the best they can come up with for Kate Blanchett. So what do we have? Give us some breads and circuses to enjoy, Christian.
Sure. Well, you mentioned Deadpool and Wolverine. It is a lot of fun. It is dumb to the core. The plot is just ridiculous, but it's very funny. It's very self-deprecating, and they make fun of Marvel. They make fun of woke a little bit. And these are two actors, Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, who are very let's put on a show oriented, and I like that. It's not woke, so I'm not surprised it's doing so well. Listen, if you're not a superhero movie fan, you're not going to enjoy it. It's got tons of Easter eggs and asides and allusions and all those things, so you may miss half the jokes. One movie that I found surprisingly charming was Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, and I thought,
really,
gosh, a sequel to this franchise 30 years later. It felt desperate. Eddie Murphy's Coming to America sequel I thought was a debacle.
Totally.
But this one is pretty charming. It's nostalgic in the right ways. It's got a decent story all its own. Eddie Murphy still has that snap, crackle, and pop. He's still funny. So it's on Netflix right now. Be cynical all you want. I was too, but I thought that was a pleasant surprise this summer.
I'll give Eddie Murphy a chance because, I mean, he does. He's just got the gift. I mean, when he came back and did Dolomite after a long layoff, not family friendly, but he was brilliant in it. I mean, he was hilarious. It was really good.
Yeah, he's uniquely gifted as a comic actor, and I think Hollywood just doesn't give him enough good scripts. And maybe that's on him. He should be seeking out, talented, unknown comic writers to kind of bring him something of consequence. But he's the best. He's always been the best. He also makes a lot of very bad movies.
I don't know if we've ever talked about this genre of film, but it's one I have an affinity for, and it speaks to the darkness in my heart, Christian. But I'm looking at this sort of new below the fold slasher movie called In a Violent Nature. And it's gotten pretty good reviews, and I wanted to get your take on that. And I don't know if that's a genre you like, though. You seem like a more joyful person, like Kamala Harris.
Nope, it's my favorite genre by far.
Oh, really?
Oh, you two are going to get along beautifully.
Great.
I'll just leave the conversation, have a good time.
It's a half an excellent movie and half a terrible movie. It's very distinctive. It's very deliberate. It can be very slow. It has a few really powerful scenes. So ratchet down your expectations, but it is a little bit different kind of slasher movie. You often see the movie through the eyes of the killer. It's just got a different vibe to it. Not to use the Harris situation.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you're wanting something a little bit different and fresh, you will enjoy it. But you have to be patient. There's so many sequences where we're just watching and waiting and watching and waiting, and nothing quite happens. And the film's resolution also I found underwhelming. But I like something that's distinct and different in horror, and this mostly qualifies. I'd also recommend Long Legs, which is the new thriller with Nicolas Cage. It's overrated, but again, it's got a good scary feel to it, and it's directed by Osgood Perkins, son of Anthony Perkins, who you may have known from Psycho.
Nick Cage is another one you always have to give a chance to, because he makes so many movies and so many bad movies, but then out of nowhere he makes a movie like Pig, and you're like, well, where did that come from? Brilliant.
Yeah, he's very talented. I think sometimes he leans into his Nicolas Cage-ness. We've seen that a time or two where he's just having fun and kind of playing into his brand. But a really, really talented actor, versatile. My favorite movie of all time is Raising Arizona. He's wonderful.
Great, that's great.
He is creepy as heck in Long Legs. He's playing the serial killer. No spoiler there. It's pretty clear from the jump. But yeah, that one has made quite a bit of cash this summertime. Horror movies cost next to nothing. You don't need a major star to make them. They often overperform. I don't know why Hollywood doesn't just crank out like 1,000 horror movies a year, because they are profitable. It's all about ROI in Hollywood, you would think, and they bring it.
I don't know if we've talked to you since I finally got around to watching this series, but I want to get a series recommendation from you as well. But one of the best series I've seen, certainly since the series on the making of The Godfather. Why am I blanking on the name? You know what I'm talking about.
I do. It's the something, the proposal.
No, it's anyway, it'll come to me. But Ewan McGregor, Gentleman in Moscow, that was brilliantly shot and written, and he was great, and his wife was great. I thought that was one of the best series of the last several years.
I haven't seen it. I tend to watch more movies than anything else, just because I kind of have to feed the beast of the website and the podcast, and that's top priority for me. But there are so many good TV shows that are well written, beautifully performed, unique. I think a lot of the great writing is just on TV right now. I think a lot of the movie writing can be hackneyed or woke or just predictable or just underwhelming, and it's shocking sometimes how beautifully crafted, and listen to all the good actors go to TV. There's no stigma to that anymore. I was growing up, it was you were a TV actor and a movie actor, and never the twain shall meet. But now, Nicole Kidman, Hugh Grant, Ewan McGregor, they're happy to do these TV shows because the writing is just so good.
So by the way, The Godfather, The Offer. But give us a series recommendation.
It's funny, right now I'm rewatching The Sopranos, which everyone in the world knows is the greatest show ever.
Don't tell me how it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, right.
Yeah, right.
There's a Journey song involved. I will say there's a show, and Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman, it's a 2-word title. It came out maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It's a limited series, maybe 6 episodes. And it was wonderful. It was about a doctor who's accused of killing his mistress,
Yep.
And you have to just go IMDb and Google Hugh Grant and Nicole Kidman. It was just
I
wonderful.
saw it. The Undoing. I saw it. It was good.
The Undoing, yes.
Mhm.
And Hugh Grant came of age as this sort of good-looking, silly, frothy rom-com guy. He has emerged as just a spectacular actor. He is menacing. He's interesting. He's dark. He's complicated. I've loved watching his career blossom in the last few years, and that's a wonderful show.
Yeah, I think things got better for him after he got caught with that prostitute. I think that was the watershed moment for him.
Turning point for a lot of guys.
It's a real springboard. Christian Toto is host of the Hollywood in Toto podcast, Hollywood in Toto, TOTO.com, HollywoodinToto.com. Christian, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and healthcare, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
AM 560, The Answer.
Open mic! Open mic Friday! Call in now! Open mic Friday!
Yeah, it's that time of the week, Open Mic Friday, where we take your calls with comments, compliments, concerns, criticisms, general crack pottery. We'll take it all. 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line is the number. And David Kolsak is the founder of turnkey.pro, and we start with him as we always do. David?
Good morning, Dan and Amy. How are you guys today?
Good.
So remember back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s when we had presidential elections, the Democrat and Republican candidates were fairly centric. They were separated by a few ideas, but they essentially weren't that far apart when it came to policies. What I mean is there wasn't a huge divide between the platforms, and the issues were like the economy, abortion. I was certainly less aware of those political things in my youth, but things were different. Today, you've got two of the most diametrically opposed platforms on either side of the aisle. It's not even close. It's hard for me to believe any of these polls, as they seem to be telling a story rather than actually polling the people. Rush Limbaugh said it best when he talked about polls shaping public opinion. I believe that they do. The problem that I have with all this is that I see zero sentiment other than voting against Trump that creates enthusiasm for the Democrats. I mean, I can wear Trump gear anywhere I want in my area, and basically there's no reaction. I couldn't do that just a couple of years ago, but now it seems that the collective sentiment has turned enough for people to be left alone if they approve of Trump. When the pandemic was in full effect and we had mask mandates everywhere, I used to go into Home Depot and without a mask and see how far I could get without getting shouted down. Once I made it to the light bulb section, which is not that far into the store, and I would say to whoever was yelling at me that God sent me here to tell you to wake up, and then I'd turn and walk out. So that was an interesting time. But that was a long time ago. If you told me back then that we'd have these same challenging times in 2024, I would have had very little hope back then and probably would have been pretty despondent. But as it turns out, the last 3 years have been so that it's really shown people how bad things are and can be. You've got major conflicts all over the place, and you've got civil unrest in the UK and Europe, and coups, assassination attempts, and now you've got Iran. And you've got normal things like gas, milk, eggs, bacon, and mayonnaise, and beef at record high prices. I just purchased a jar of mayonnaise for $10, so I guess you have to show people how bad it can get. So now you've got all this conflict and all these hardships with wars popping up, and you'd think that the divide between these camps would be very small and focused on issues, but it's not. You've got one candidate for a closed border, strong economy, energy independence, no wars, patriotism, family, the Constitution, and the rule of law, versus no border, high taxes, no fracking, endless wars, transgender craziness, lawfare against political opponents, a two-tier justice system, defund the police, anti-family, and violence being normalized. Not to mention puberty blockers, and let's wait until the baby's born before we terminate it. So the divide couldn't be more clear. What's more is that I don't understand how anyone could support that platform. I realize that Trump is not just running against the Democratic ticket, but he and whoever might be on it, because I can see several scenarios that they change out Kamala even. But Trump's also running against the mainstream media, the deep state, and just about every social media and online platform that exists, with maybe the exception of X. But it's not a fair fight, especially when you add in voting machines and DNC cheats. It doesn't really matter what polls say because they're there to condition you to accept a victory for Democrats. Either way, I want to know how we got here and how we could have such a divide in policy, and the country and the mainstream media tells us that it's divided, right down the middle, and we're violently opposed to each other. So I would say Obama was the one who started that division. So you know what the opposite of unity is? It's diversity. Diversity has been shoved down our throats so hard that they've normalized so many crazy things. Look no further than the two boxers left at the end of the female boxing competition in the Olympics. They were men. It's absurd. And then you've got the phrase that Kamala keeps repeating over and over. We can see what can be unburdened by what has been. People think that's nothing but a word salad, but it's actually Marxism. It's a Marxist incantation, somewhat of a spell. So you can see the possibility of a world that's unburdened from its own history. She's following the Marxist playbook that's been used many times before, which is exactly what Mao Zedong did when he launched a campaign of smash the four olds with the four old characteristics of the Chinese society. They wanted to make a new China that was going to be unburdened by what had been passed in China. It's what the Bolsheviks did when they took over power in Russia, and it's what they wanted to make a new Russia so people could see a socialist utopia. So when Kamala says the phrase unburdened by what has been, and looking at her upbringing where her father's a Marxist and a professor, you have to assume she knows exactly what she's saying. Sadly, most of us think she's a cackling idiot, but she's probably far more intelligent and purposeful than the conservatives give her credit for. Look at the fact that she stole the nomination and basically the presidency. So that takes some intellect and some conniving skills to get it done. Don't buy that folksy act. She's an outright Marxist. So when you back the camera out like 30,000 feet, there's a huge chasm between camps. We've got outright Marxism on one side and nationalism on the other, kleptocracy versus meritocracy, one side where the political leaders accumulate wealth at the expense of the populace, and the other by rewarding talent, effort, and achievements, and a vision for the greater whole versus the interests of a few. So if this were a free and fair election, there's no way the people would choose the platform of Kamala Harris and this oddball weirdo who basically let the city of Minneapolis burn to the ground, paying homage to a criminal who overdosed on fentanyl. I personally think they're going to come up with some reason to postpone the election or cancel it altogether because the divide is too big, people are too awake, and the dirty tricks and false flags don't work as well. So that is unless you cheat, and that's got to be the plan, especially if she starts talking. So buckle up.
Okay, David, thanks for that. I think David's premise is wrong. Oh, we've never been so divided and so forth. And it used to be there was very little difference between the two parties. Really? That's not true. If you want to know how we got here, this discussion we were having yesterday, and David admits I didn't pay much attention when I was growing up and until recently. Right. Well, then you have to catch up. McGovern and Nixon, the left went too far too fast. So they tried to recalibrate with the peanut farmer from Georgia.
Right.
Leftist, but didn't present as much.
And we had the worst economy in.
Right. And that gave you Reagan.
Right.
And then they went too far too fast again. They thought they could swing the pendulum back faster with another liberal governor in Dukakis. And that didn't work. So then they did Carter Redux with Bill Clinton, Southern governor, with the, down-home charm. And then it was supposed to be, well, now we can push the envelope again because we've had two terms of a governor, this whole New Democrat, remember DLC, the rebranding. So they pushed with Gore, and just a little bit too far, too fast, too wooden. And it was the homespun charm of W that got it done, plus sort of the institutional support. And then 2 terms of Obama, and they say, okay, well, we got to repackage it again. We repackage the leftism. It's they've never changed. Do you think Tip O'Neill was the Democrat Party? No, he wasn't. He was an outlier. He was a holdover, a holdout, if you will, as the party was changing right underneath them, even when you had people like Tip O'Neill in leadership positions. The party has always been a movement party from the Marxist base, because that's what you have to espouse. That's what you have to believe if you're a government-centric person. And so they do. It's what you have to believe when these institutions that you despise are to be torn asunder. I mean, you despise these institutions, so you want to destroy them. But you can only go as fast as you can go. And sometimes they get a little bit out over their skis, and so they recalibrate. Then comes Obama. And then they think, well, we've got away with that for 8 years, so we can continue to push the envelope. In addition to that, it's sort of our turn, the I should say her turn kind of thing, and the institutional inertia behind Hillary, with a recognition that Joe Biden is, a bit of a moron. So they push him aside and try to install Hillary, and they get exactly the candidate they thought they wanted, and it didn't work out. But I mean, the last 50 years, and even before then, going back to Adlai Stevenson, we can go back further. FDR. We can go back further than that. Woodrow Wilson. The march has always been from the Democrat Party, even when you thought the Democratic Party was JFK's Democratic Party. No. The march has always been, the movement within the party has always been Marxist or Leninist, or Marxist-Leninist, if you will. This is why the new Bolsheviks, same as the old Bolsheviks, just an updated version, where they focus on race or gender identity instead of class from, 100 years ago. We used to be so. No, we didn't. Too far, too fast. And when you lose 49 states, then you recalibrate, as they did after Nixon, as they did after Reagan-Mondale, as they did after Gore and Kerry. We used to be, and now we're no. We're just reaching sort of end of the line now, because we, on the other side, conservatives, have consistently lost so many cultural battles, and many of us given up on those cultural battles, that, they're poised to deal us, I wouldn't say a death blow, but something just short of that. We've never been. We always were, and nobody knew it. Well, very few people recognize the trajectory we're on. Now we're in a place where a lot more people recognize it, and we have sort of our Batman in Trump, not the hero you necessarily want, but the hero you need. And we'll see what happens to Gotham. Bob, Buffalo Grove.
Hello?
Yeah, Bob, go ahead.
Another good, excellent week on topical discussions. Though retired, I still get up early to listen to you guys, to hear the topics that the media's not covering. One of them you covered early this morning, which was the organ fetus harvesting. Thank you for airing that, because the news media is not covering it. And let me ask, maybe at the debates, Trump can offer this topic for discussion. Hey, Kamala, do you support Planned Parenthood and the parts harvesting that's going on? Mm-hmm. Have a good weekend.
Thanks for the call, Bob. My record is so pro-choice. Nancy Pelosi asked me if I should tone it down. I stand with Planned Parenthood. That's Tim Walz.
Yeah.
And obviously Kamala doesn't just stand with Planned Parenthood. She engaged in lawfare as Attorney General on their behalf against the very organization that provided this this video suppressed for 8 years, in which you have people at the Gulf Coast Planned Parenthood in Houston, Texas, talking openly about how they work around the partial birth abortion ban that's federal law since 2003. and that they harvest the organs that research outfits buy from Planned Parenthood, liver, thymus,
$1,600.
$1,600. They want cardiac. They want
6 months and older.
So the point is to say, and it's a very easy question that Trump could ask, this video that maybe he could direct attention to, and maybe before the debate, so it becomes part of this discussion, maybe do a little bit of jujitsuing on the issue of abortion. That would always be nice. Say, I'm a little confused if it's just a mass of protoplasm, as they say. If this is just about women's reproductive health and it's not a child, so nobody has to feel bad about it, then why would these institutions be interested in organs from masses of protoplasm, and why would Planned Parenthood have this as part of their business model to sell human body parts? Well, are they human body parts? I don't know. What's a liver and a thymus? What's a heart? We're talking about pulling off a leg or two, as this ghoulish chief of medical operations at that Planned Parenthood in Gulf Coast said. Are those the indicia of a human being, or what are they? Somebody explain it to me.
And they're doing this they're at a cocktail party sipping wine.
It's just
The
doing
arrogance of it all, too.
It's just doing business. It's just the business they're in, and that's what it is, a business. Kevin, Austin, Texas.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for taking my call. So many things happening this week. Anyhow, wasn't it Harris who went after David? What's his name?
Yes, David DeLine. Yes, and Center for Medical Progress.
Harris is the one that did that.
Raided his house looking for the tape.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then I would say the divide goes back even further. It goes back to Adams and Jefferson when they were accusing each other of being a hermaphrodite.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
So I wanted to talk about the story you had yesterday as far as the GOP and the fight between the establishment and the grassroots. I think what Illinois can do is study what Texas and Florida has done over the last 10, 15 years and how they really changed that. And, there's the old axiom that when's the best time to plant a tree? 10 years ago or today is the second best.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Illinois can do is if they go out and develop, and I've been talking about it for years, if we did it, right after the last election, cultivate precinct chairs and have the establishment do that. Cultivate a grassroots and work with them so it's not combative. Illinois is not going to change overnight, but it's a start. And I think a way to do it is we got 88 days to stop the spread of socialism in Illinois. And I think this is an opportunity. You can't change the Republican Party, but you can get involved in a local congressional race. And wouldn't it be great if, you're not going to win Trump, not going to win Illinois for Trump, but if you increase the popular vote, wouldn't it be great if Trump won and he won the popular vote? I think that would change a lot of things. So just encourage people to get involved where you can. After you go and open your Wednesday, your Friday medication and take it, go and make a phone call if you got time. Just find out who the local campaign is for the GOP. And then from there, Salvi should go out and try to develop the GOP moving forward. So anyhow, thanks.
Thanks, Kevin. Bob, Rogers Park.
Yeah, I called the Minnesota governor's mansion, and I asked to speak with Governor Walz. They said he's not here. I said, may I speak with Mrs. Walz? They said, she's not here. I said, may I speak with any of the Walz children? They said, there are no walls here. I said, oh, yeah, well, what's holding up the roof?
Hi-oh! Oh, gosh. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Bob.
Sure, they've never heard that joke before.
Since we're on a comedy roll here.
Oh, boy, are we doing it?
Prime Minister Kevin at his summer home in Ogden Dunes.
Professor Proft of the Proft University. That was the most intelligent exposition after David Kolsak, but you missed the great question.
What?
You didn't ask him, as I am the representative of J.B. Lizzo. Both sex and food are very interesting to us. What's he going to do with that jar of $10 mayonnaise?
Okay.
The larger-than-life Marxist governor, J.B. Lizzo's puzzling and depressing corpulence is caused by his great misfortune, inheriting uber-capitalist billions. This is why relentlessly and even breathlessly, does he pursue Marxist politics. He's driven by his own affirmation because in his sphere, he's self-made, rags to political riches. So I was not at all surprised when months ago the Jelly Belly wired me a 7-figure advance to unearth dirt. Fake news, but the kind you can believe in. His investigatory subject was none other than Kamala Harris. Found many secrets lie in her past, and after deep AI-assisted J. Edgar Hoover vacuuming, I provided JB a top-secret, dirty dossier so he could force Kamala to tap him as Veep. Alas, it did not fly. What follows is the first of many fake news installments of the secret Governor J.B. Lizzo Harrias files. What we in Ireland call malarkey is what was manufactured, the freedom lie in MLK plagiarism. Kamala claims she was misquoted in her autobiography. However, my investigation did reveal that it was on his very honeymoon that Kamala's Jamaican father verbalized the immortal line, "Hey Hindu, it's voodoo that you do so well." Kamala was 29 and a lowly assistant district attorney. Was it because of the pain from her parents' divorce when she was a small child that she felt entitled to a man who was filthy, stinking rich? With Willie Brown, well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. He was 61 years old and Speaker of the California State House, later San Fran mayor. He was married but separated. She took up with Willie Brown's Willie, but only after he said, quote, "Think of me as your hotel bellhop. Let me handle your private belongings and fluff your pillows." At that time,
okay,
Willie,
we don't have time for the whole dossier at PM,
line,
so wrap it up.
Last line. At that time, Willie told a friend, Kamala's politically bipartisan, but she's a nymphomaniac. She watches MSNBC all day and Fox all night.
Hi-oh.
That last line was good. Okay.
That was a long walk
to get
to that. All right, PM. Yeah, boy. Richard, Blue Island.
Yeah, hey, Dan and Amy. I think Tampon Tim should have some new walk-up music when he gives a speech. There's an old 70s song called Smoking in the Boys' Room, and they should change the words from Smoking in the Boys' Room to Tampons in the Boys' Room. Right. Teacher, don't you fill me up with your rules. Everybody knows that tampons are allowed in school.
Thanks for the call, Richard. Ralph and Rantoul, please bring us back to terra firma.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a rough morning. My comment was going to be something along the lines of, if you remember the old Hair Club for Men commercials, now's the time for creative people, since I'm so uncreative, to bring it back to, Desk Club for Babies. I'm not just a spokesperson for Desk Club for Babies. I'm a member. You could have Kamala, you could have Waltz, you could have all kinds of people parroting that because that's what they believe in. And what I don't understand, Dan and Amy, is how can it even be, don't get fooled by the polls, okay? As people find out more about the extreme positions of these two candidates, unless they're really dead set on destroying America, people are probably, I say probably, not going to vote for that slime. I don't understand it. Either, if you knew somebody was trying to drive your car off the cliff, would you take a nap while they were driving, or would you possibly say it's time for a break, gag them, put them in the trunk, and take over driving the car?
Thanks for the call, Ralph. Yeah, it's just, it is, but you need what the speaker who gave the best speech I've heard in Congress in the last several years. I can't think of a better one. Just a couple of weeks ago.
Oh.
Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, BB. Yeah.
You need somebody that, or some buddies, I mean, it's not a one-person job, to speak with moral clarity on these issues, the way that Netanyahu spoke with moral clarity on Israel's right to exist, on Hamas being an Iranian terrorist-sponsored organization, on so many of these college kids being useful idiots or willing tools of these illiberal Islamofascists. And we just don't, and you know, and steeped in the context, historical and present day. So you make these forceful arguments, you frame things in no uncertain terms for people. So you cut through some of, you cut through as much of the bilge as you can. Yeah. We need that. We need that, and we're not getting it to the extent we need it. But
one thing that I've learned this week is how disingenuous Kamala Harris is. She has no plan. I mean, here's her talking. Well, no, don't, because she doesn't know what it's like to have a family to feed, because she's childless. She doesn't get it.
While our economy is doing well by many measures, prices for everyday things like groceries are still too high. When I am president, it will be a day one priority to fight to bring down prices.
She's such a politician. What's the plan? There's no plan. Then she rinses and repeats and says the same thing in Michigan that she said in Wisconsin, that she's going to say today in Arizona, and they're going to hide her. They only have 88 more days. And I know there's going to be a debate September 10th that she's agreed to, but she still has not, and probably will not agree to the September 4th Fox News debate, because they're going to ask her real questions.
Jerry, Western Suburbs.
Good morning, Dan, Amy. Your commentator earlier on the movies and such, I think with Ben Stiller, he should take Robert Downey's advice from Tropic Thunder.
Yeah, don't go full. Yeah, right. Okay, I got you. Thanks for the call, Jerry. Yeah. Jim in Crown Point.
You know, Willie Brown and Trump went down in a helicopter. Kamala Harris went down on Willie Brown in a helicopter.
Okay, all right.
And now we're hearing it might have been Jerry Brown, not Willie Brown. Dan, two things for you.
Jerry Brown, Kamala dated Jerry Brown too?
No.
Governor Moonbeam?
Governor Moonbeam was in the helicopter, not Willie. Mm-hmm. The only thing authentic about Kamala is her phoniness. And here's a bit of advice for you, Dan. Do not watch Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh, you disagreement about the reboot.
Yeah.
I
heard it was pretty good.
Surprised.
A friend who watched it.
I was surprised by Christian Toto's positive review. Yeah, I thought it would be, man, those sequels, especially with that much distance, usually not good. But, you know, you can
give it a try.
Eddie Murphy has earned the benefit of the doubt, I would say. Tom in Blue Island.
Hey, good morning, Dan. Amy, thanks for taking the call. Dan, I wanted to vehemently disagree with David Kolsak in reference to saying Trump has everyone against him. He may have all the organizations against him, but he has more than half of the American public behind him, and more importantly, he has what's right behind him. It's such a stark difference, the Harris-Biden BS and what Trump is laying out. And, I mean, Dan, if we lose this one, it's Houston losing to NC State in 83 or 84 or whenever it was.
Oh, yeah, 83, sure. You know, oh, yeah. Derek Wittenberg to Lorenzo Charles. Jim Valvano running around like a crazy person. That was great. A better day in 83. NC State was the upset champion. Ronald Reagan was in the White House.
Yeah.
Dan Proft was wowing his fourth grade classmates, fifth grade classmates. Well, how old was I? I was 11. So
I'm sure you were all over Reagan.
Fifth
you had
grade.
A poster of him in your bedroom?
No. I kept it in my briefcase.
Oh. Alex P. Keaton.
Steve in his car.
Hey,
Great show as always. That press conference was not good. Yeah, he doesn't look good. He looks sick. He knows he's losing. He's not campaigning the entire time of August. This campaign's in total shambles. And I'm glad you can sell your audience on the confidence that you guys have with it, but guess what? He's losing, and he's going to lose. And you're going to try to cover for him when he loses. So I look forward to enjoying that. Have a great day.
Okay.
Cover for him.
if he loses, he loses. There's no covering for him.
Well, I've been hard on him this week because I'm addicted to the Olympics, and Kamala Harris has campaign ads every single break, and there's nothing from Trump.
In Chicago, where you're watching them.
Well, I would love to hear from other people that are out of town. If there's somebody in Wisconsin seeing something different than I am.
I just saw on CNN, so that's national, not local, but although they don't have to buy Chicago market, his border commercial. But yeah, I mean, I think, as I said before, I think that they have been a little bit slow on the framing when it transitioned to Kamala, and a little bit. I think I understand there's some perhaps messaging dissension in the ranks. You hear the story out today; they're thinking about bringing back Kellyanne Conway and so forth. Whatever that'll do, which is not much. Don't forget, Trump wouldn't have been president in 2016. We wouldn't be talking about Trump anymore if he listened to Kellyanne Conway, because Kellyanne Conway was one of those who, after the Access Hollywood tape came out, said you need to get out of the race. So let's just holster ourselves. But I mean,
NBC held that for 11 years.
But in terms of Steve and his car, I mean, the whole it's just so funny. You get it going both ways, because people are just imputing upon you the positions they wish you had to make what they're saying relevant, and it's a tired tactic, but I know people use it, particularly those that are sort of thinly informed and don't do a lot of critical thinking. I want Trump to win. I think he's still well positioned to win. I don't think Kamala is sellable if you prosecute the campaign right. I don't think what the Black Journalists Convention was a huge issue. I think it was an opportunity, and I think he has sort of instinctively gotten very close to where he needs to be with the fake versus fight. Now that needs to be developed across issues, and Walz actually fits into that nicely. I don't think yesterday's press conference was Trump. It's like to be critical of his musings at that press conference is to be critical of his communication style for the last 9 years. And that's fine. You can be. I have been. But at least I recognize what it is. And I also recognize that for 9 years, despite everything from everyone in the institutional set that has been thrown at him, he has thrived or survived politically for 9 years. And that takes some doing. And if you think Trump thinks he's going to lose, then you know nothing about Trump profile, and you don't have to know him. You just have to know the profile, and you have to watch him. He is a Norman Vincent Peale acolyte. He is always the sunny side of the street. He never thinks he's going to lose. Frank, Arlington Heights.
Hey, good morning. I just wanted to add to that 1983 NC State run. They weren't supposed to make the tournament. They had to win their ACC tournament.
Right.
I know they beat North Carolina and Virginia in there. I think they beat Virginia again in the NCAA.
Ralph Sampson's Virginia.
Yeah, Ralph Sampson, Virginia. Which was an incredible team, and that was really probably the most amazing Cinderella run. And then we got Villanova 3 years later with 1986. That was 2 years later, 1985. Yeah,
hopped up on cocaine, Dwayne McClain. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. Chuck and Delavan to close it out.
Hey, thanks everybody for mentioning my garage band in high school. Mayonnaise for $10. Hey, this is the last chance I got to tell everybody, vote for me on Tuesday. If you're a Democrat, switch over to a Republican. I'm second on the ballot. Please help me out. Venetia weeknight starts tomorrow. Lunch Money Bullies Thursday. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right. Thanks to Justin Kosick and Keith Conrad, who's in for Quinn McCarthy. Have a wonderful weekend. We're back here bright and early Monday morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A woman crushed to death by a conveyor belt at O'Hare. One dead, one wounded in a Morris shooting. An air show and an Illinois State Fair. They're both underway. White Sox have fired manager Pedro Grifol, and Caleb Williams will play against the Bills tomorrow. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
Another death blamed on Debbie. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It is the 8th one since hitting Florida as a hurricane Monday. A woman near Greensboro, North Carolina, killed when a tree fell on her. This as Debbie's remnants move quickly north, full of rain that could cause even more flooding.
Rain is much heavier compared to where we were at earlier this morning. So we're getting completely drenched here in the Harrisburg.
Fox's weather's Katie Byrne in Pennsylvania's capital.
I've already seen some people talking about on social media that they have reports of trees down in their neighborhoods here in the Harrisburg area.
Debbie's remnants will go to New York and New England next. Israel's forces have moved back into the Gaza city of Han Yunis, targeting Hamas militants in tunnels amid a renewed push trying to stop the war.
A joint statement from the leaders of the U.S., Egypt, and Qatar called for Israel and Hamas to continue talks next week following the killing of Hamas's leader. A spokesman for the National Security Council says the new leader, Yahya Sinwar, is a terrorist with blood on his hands, but has been a chief decision maker when it comes to ceasefire negotiations.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz, a third suspect, been arrested in Austria linked to the terror plot that canceled 3 Taylor Swift Vienna concerts. He's an 18-year-old who had pledged allegiance to ISIS. Vice President Harris and running mate Tim Walz will rally today in Arizona. Fox's Griff Jenkins reports from the White House.
What we're all watching is whether or not she'll at least continue to gaggle with the press. Now, yesterday, she did end that 18-day media blackout with no interviews, no press conferences. She answered 5 questions, just 77 seconds with reporters on the tarmac.
And that was mostly about debating former President Trump and doing media interviews.
She can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference.
That was the former president during a long Q&A with reporters at the Trump resort in Florida. He's pushing for 2 more Trump-Harris debates beyond the one set for September 10th. The former president will campaign today in Montana. America's listening to Fox News.